it's Matt! And he is already drunk. To be clear, I am very drunk. Already, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. And that's why I'm going to fix America. Because I feel like, logically speaking, American politicians, even though they're fully sober, are still less responsible than me in this context because they're horrible people. I don't give a fuck if Joe Biden's okay. Relatively. He's okay, relatively speaking. He's still a cunt. He's like okay compared to Donald Trump. Great! Winston Churchill was great compared to Adolf Hitler. Doesn't mean he was a good guy. Fuck me. It's a low bar, mate. It's a low bar. How drunk is the drinking going, Matt? It's drunk. I've had 6 cocktails and 3 beers. A man tried to pawn me off with his daughter. She just graduated, and I'm like, oh no, that's young. She got her first. He was really desperate for me to go out with his daughter. Ah, it's weird. A man came on to me. He was like, oh, he said the quote, and I adore the quote. You dress like a rock star and look like a rock star. I love you. And then he gave me a hug, and I went, okay. So that's where I'm at currently. Look, right, I turned 29. Me, Matt, generally speaking, I don't like my birthday. Historically speaking, I do not like my birthday at all. I associate with a lot of just sort of vague trauma, which we're just going to skim on past. I also kind of dislike the idea of birthdays inherently because it's like, oh, well done for being alive. And I'm like, great, it's the bare minimum. Not only the bare bag of being alive, thank you, Simon's dude, for 100 twiddles. Oh shit, I don't have my fucking blackjacks. I didn't bring my blackjacks up. No, I could have brought my blackjacks up. I don't know. I'm not a fan of things that are very self-indulgent for the most part. I like Christmas because Christmas is very communal. Christmas is incredibly communal, right? You're giving your gift giving to everyone. Everyone's giving gifts around. You know. I spend Christmas at Dan and Rebecca's. I have for the past like several years. And you give gifts to your friends and people who you love, and they give gifts to you, and it's very communal. Whereas a birthday is very singularly you, which I don't really like. I don't really like that level of. I don't know. I'm not really in that. I don't know. I don't really agree with the vibe. That's not to say I disagree with those who celebrate their birthday. I'm not being like, oh, fuck you for celebrating your birthday. You fucking. You did. It's not that. But it is. Just. It's a thing I'm a bit uncomfortable with. And no. I went out tonight, right? I went out my own. Because purposely on my birthday, right, I actively don't celebrate it. I don't mention my birthday on Twitter. I don't mention my birthday anywhere. I tend to ignore every single text I get on my birthday. It's like, everyone's like, happy birthday, and I ignore them. Because I like to be a grumpy little cunt. I'm trying to not be that. I'm trying to be less of a grumpy cunt about my birthday. But I still am in the I'm going to avoid it camp. I'm still in the I'm going to avoid it camp. Oh, thank you, WT Mike. The Nerky Wiki didn't know the actual day of your birthday. I mean, fucking Famous Birthdays does. Wait, I'm on Famous Birthdays. Fucking stupid Famous Birthdays, which is just the worst. God, it's got the 8-year-old goth girl photo as well. Also, I hate my Famous Birthdays profile because it says birthplace England, which is wrong. I've emailed them several fucking times being like, hey, bitch, I'm Irish. I'm fucking Irish. I've got an Irish passport, says I'm born in Ireland, and I'm an Irish citizen. And they haven't fucking changed it. And they've still got my 8-year-old goth girl photo. Which I do bring up on dates, to be clear. Which is hilarious. Is there a way to get you to the top of Famous Birthdays? I am the 25th top cancer named Matt, which is a pretty low bar. Who's the top cancer named Matt? It's someone called Matt Slays, which admittedly, with the name Matt Slays, you probably should be. They're 42. Who the fuck is Matt Slays? They're a musician. They're a YouTube channel. Matt Slays. That's a good name. I'm not gonna. Fuck them. It's fine. What else? I'm the 42nd July 13th YouTube star. So that's great. I will say, right, as I put on Twitter, July 13th is my birthday. It is also the birthday of fucking Patrick Stewart and Harrison Ford. Arguably my two favourite actors. Patrick Stewart, fucking Jean-Luc Picard, my fucking boy. And Harrison Ford, who, let's be honest, is a cunt, but is the star of my favourite action movie of all time. So, The Fugitive. So, like, I'm fine with July 13th as a birthday. It's also a nice part of the year. It's reasonably far away from Christmas. It's not June 25th, sure, but there's a nice spacing. Weather's nice. I tend to ignore it. A friend sent me moonshine, like a moonshine taster, little tasters, like these little 20ml tasters of moonshine from O'Donnell. It was 8 little bottles of 4 flavors. I've already drank 4 of them. I've got 4 more here. We've got a wild berry, a very cherry, a tough nut, and a sticky toffee. I really liked wild berry. It tasted like alcoholic Ribena, which I'm a big fan of. Sunburnt Rock, I share a birthday with Heinrich Himmler and Vladimir Putin. Woo! Boy! I am so sorry. That is really fucking funny, but oh. And Simon Cowell. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's really funny. Woo! Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry. Wait, who's July 13th birthdays? I'm on famous birthdays. The top person in July 13th birthdays is someone called Caleb Logan LeBlanc, who died 8 years ago. They were born July 13th, 2002, and they died 2015. Okay. Fine. Harrison Ford is number 4. Okay. Where's MF Doom? MF Doom? Fucking MF Doom was born on July 13th. Best birthday. By the way, MF Doom was killed by the NHS. Due to managerial incompetence. Oh my god, Ken Jeong was born on July 13th. My boy! Ken Jeong! The fucking gay gif! Yes! He was also born on July 13th. Best birthday. Patrick Stewart, obviously. We've established Patrick Stewart. The best Star Trek captain. If we ignore the movies and the Picard TV shows. Fuck it, you know what? Harrison Ford, MF Doom, Ken Jeong, and Patrick Stewart. I'll take that. Excellent. 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 When was Himmler born? Let me Google Himmler birth. You know what? Is Vladimir Putin on famous birthdays? Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin. Birthday. Is he on would you think famous birthdays would have Vladimir Putin? Probably not. Oh my god, he's 70? I mean, that makes sense, but like, fucking hell. God, all the big world leaders are old cunts. God, Biden's so old! He's so old! Jesus Christ, he's so old. Vladimir Putin. God, he's 70. 1952. 7th of October. He looks good for 70. Helps that he's basically bald, but you know. Yeah, fucking Jesus. 7th. Wait, what? Where was it? 7th of October. Oof. Rough. Notably, my mother's birthday is at the end of October, so you can tell where I was conceived. Woo! They do have Putin, but for some reason they don't have Himmler. I can't think why. Yeah, I don't know if having Himmler on a famous birthday. Oh, it's Himmler. Great. King's Way. I've got 2-pack of The Ultimate Warrior. That's a good one. See, this thing. If I had to share a birthday with anyone, sharing it with Harrison Ford and Patrick Stewart is like the best thing. I'll take it. I will take that. I mean, who am I in the July 13th birthdays? Like, I'm not in the top ones. God, why is my photo the fucking 8-year-old goth girl photo? I bring that up on dates, you know. I use that as like a measure of like not success, but like a I'm very self-deprecating on dates. I'm very self-deprecating. I just lean into the... I do the same thing I'm doing here. I'm exactly the same. I'm very self-deprecating. And I'm like, if you Google it, I joke about me being an 8-year-old goth girl, and they're like, no, I am. Google it. I'm like, oh, what am I? But it's always that fucking photo. It's always that photo of that fucking classic 8-year-old goth girl photo of me from like 2014 or something. It's fine. I told to aid vibe checking. Totally. Tonight, right? I went out on my own, right? Because on my birthdays, I just kind of ignore everyone else that I know. It's a weird thing, right? Everyone I know on my birthday is like, hey, Matt, let's do something on your birthday. And I'm like, no, desperately not. Please leave me alone. Born and raised in England, you were. No, I was born and raised in Ireland. Well, I was raised in mainly England. Most of my childhood was in England on a technical level. But I was born in Ireland. And I moved here when I was 7. 2000. It was pre 9/11, but it was after the millennium. It's that period. It's fine. What was I saying? The point is, I don't know what the point is. I've forgotten. I'm quite drunk. I went out on my own because again, I kind of just ignore everyone I know on my birthday. They're all like, let's do something, Matt. And I'm like, no, leave me alone. Fuck off. Fuck off. I always joke that all I want to do on my birthday is build a Lego set and watch Batman films. I used to try and watch every Batman film, but now it's like one from every directorial era. So like the 1966 Batman, you watch Adam West, right? You watch one of the Tim Burton Batman movies, which is the 1989 Batman. You watch one of the Joel Schumacher films, which I kind of swap every time. Because as much as I enjoy Batman and Robin, because it's fucking ridiculous, I do like Jim Carrey as Riddler, and I do like Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. It's fun. And then you're like, oh shit, I better watch one from the fucking Nolan era. And it's always the Nolan era one I'm the least interested in. Like, The Dark Knight is objectively one of the best Batman films, but also it's the one that I find the most fucking boring. I tend to watch Batman Begins. Then you watch a Ben Affleck one. I usually watch Batman vs Superman. Piece of shit, granted, but the Batman fight after the whole Martha thing is cracking. And then you watch The Batman, and you're like, oh, I'm very moody, I'm Robert Pattinson, right? Fine. People like birthdays because it's an excuse to drink. You don't need an excuse to drink. If you want to drink, you can drink. I don't like it as an excuse for alcoholism. I'll be praying for you in the morning. I don't get hangovers. I'm one of those people. I've never had a hangover. Hilariously. Excellent, right? So about Rock, before fame, in May 2012, he debunked his Twitter account with a tweet. This is a landmark. My first tweet is not. Oh, that's what I tweeted. That wasn't actually my first tweet, because I deleted my Twitter before that. I made a Twitter in like 2009. My original Twitter was 2008 now, but I deleted it for like a year, because I was in a slightly abusive relationship. We're going to skim over that. And then I remade it then in 2012. When I was on the train, I was like, oh my god, I can make a Twitter again. And I made my Twitter again. But it was the same account. It's good Twitter. I've been on Twitter a long time. That's why I'm sad that it's leaving. I like Blue Sky. Just as a side note, Blue Sky's really nice. There's a whole thing going on Blue Sky today. Well, I say in the past day and a half. Because someone made an account on Blue Sky that was just, the username was just the N-word. It was just the N-word. And everyone was justifiably furious, going, how the fuck was a word filter, like an account word filter, not built in to stop people from calling themselves the N-word? Like, it wasn't like, it was just the N-word. Like the 6-letter N-word. That was all their username was. It wasn't like it was, like, obfuscated or something. It was just the N-word. And everyone was justifiably really fucking angry. And there's a whole thing on Blue Sky about anti-blackness, which, admittedly, I don't know enough about, because I haven't looked into it enough. But it's a big thing everyone's talking about, so I'm assuming it's reasonably correct. There's a bit of a debate going on now over the R word, like the R slur, like E-card slur. Because Blue Sky's open source, you can see any changes they make. They remove that from the banned words list, and everyone was justifiably annoyed, but then there's sort of an argument of like, well, it's actually a really common word in a lot of other languages. Like in French, it's a really, really common word that's not a slur. And obviously it's used in a lot of engineering and, you know, fire retardant, and planes use it, and blah, blah, blah. And my constant argument is, oh my god, there is a middle ground there. You can make it so it's flagged, and a moderator has to review the name. That is the fix. You don't want to ban... If you don't want to ban people automatically for it, fine. Just flag it to a mod, and the mod can check it. It's not frequent enough that that'll cause a problem. Just do fucking that. Just fucking do that. If you think the word is on a line, if you're worried that it will cause false positives, then just flag it to a mod and have the mod actually manually check it. I assure you it won't take that long. It won't be, like, for a big social media site, it won't be long enough. It's fine. It's fine. Just check. It literally means later on French. It does. This is the problem with word filters. Tom Scott did a really good video on it. It's the kind of Scunthorpe problem. Or Peniston. That's the thing. It's the Scunthorpe problem is the common one. Is the idea that if you censor certain words, like, fully, it blocks other words that are fine. And obviously you have referring to different languages. Censoring words is really difficult. But obviously there's some words in a word filter that, like, in the context of a username, like the N-word, that you just kind of block, and you're like, that's fine. Just block it. Like, it's fine. Fuck it. Literally. If it causes false positives, fine. Fuck it. At the bare minimum, my argument always, at the bare minimum, Blue Sky, just flag it. Well, we did this on, I had this on the, Many a Trutner Discord. We had it with the, I'm going to use the word just for context. It was the word crippled. And there's a mod who really didn't like the word, and I agree with them for not liking the word, because when you use the pejorative, it's often used as a slur against disabled people, right? But the problem with the word, obviously, in the context of especially John's channel, it's a Fallout channel, right? Fallout uses the word. You've got a crippled limb. It's a common thing when people say I'm crippled and I'm crippled with debt and whatever. So you can't ban it outright in that context. But basically, my middle ground was, hey, we're setting a flag, so anytime anyone uses the word, it flags it to the mods and they can double check it. That's it. That is the solution. Just double check. That's all you need to do. Just double check. So easy. Like, you don't need to make a complicated AI thing. Because Blue Sky's got, like, an AI that checks pictures to tell if they're nudes or whatever, because in your, like, settings on Blue Sky, which I actually think is a good thing. People are complaining about it, but I disagree. I think it's a good thing. On Blue Sky, you can, in your, I know not everyone's on Blue Sky. I appreciate that, but you can go into content filtering. And there's sexual images, other nudity, sexually suggestive, violent/bloody, hate group iconography, spam and impersonation. And you can set any of each of those things to either hiding them completely, warning you about them, or showing them just unfiltered. Which I think is a really good fucking system. Because if you don't want to see tits just coming up on your thing, I have everything set to warn, which just means it blurs it out and it says, hey, we think this might be nudity, click. I think that's a really good system, and it allows you to unfilter them if you want. I think it's a great system. It uses AI to determine that. It might not always be perfect, but I think that's a reasonably good system. They've got that really complicated system set up, but they didn't block the M-word for, like, account creation, which is ridiculous. And I appreciate that, like, there may be some, like, fucking edge cases where that causes a problem, but for the most part, the edge cases are very infrequent, and the actual, like, it's more likely with the N-word that you're going to find people trying to abuse the system, not actually edge cases. And just have someone check. So a lot of people on Blue Sky are really justifiably annoyed, going, hey, why the fuck was this not already a thing? Like, the account was up for 2 fucking weeks. And some people were like, hey, there's no way to report an account in this context, which is a valid criticism, but they're in beta. And I'm like, okay, the reporting thing, fine. But the fact that account was up for 2 weeks is ludicrous. I don't acceptable. But everyone's annoyed at Blue Sky, but the way they're being annoyed at Blue Sky is very much a, oh my god, we want Blue Sky to work, please fix this, not as a let's all leave Blue Sky. Everyone doing it is just annoyed at Blue Sky because they want it to work. They're all trying to get Blue Sky to work because everyone likes Blue Sky. I saw something on Twitter like 3 minutes ago of someone called Danny D. German. Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. There's edge cases, sure, but that's the thing. The edge cases, those edge cases, you know what you do? You just flag them. If you literally are worried about those edge cases, have them be manually checked. Allow them, but then flag it to a model going, hey, check this. Though, account creation on that context is not frequent enough that it means mods will be overloaded. I assure you. None of the staff have posted in a day, which is not helping. I know why they've not posted in a day. It's because they've all probably been told not to post and going, oh my god, we need to craft an actual PR response at this point. I don't know what they're doing. The thing with Blue Sky, my entire attitude towards anything ever is don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I adore the saying don't let perfect be the enemy of good, because Blue Sky might not be perfect, sure, but it's better than Twitter and Threads. I know the bar is fucking low, but like here we are, right? Here we fucking are. And even with some of their faults, I like Blue Sky. I mean, the head developer, the kind of main developer. I see, one of the reasons I put pronouns in my bio, because as much as I don't care what pronouns people use with me, I think it's a good indicator of someone being a cunt or not. Fuck Mastodon, I hate Mastodon, I'm not moving to fuck Mastodon. I don't care what pronouns people call me, but I think it's a valuable indicator as to whether someone values that. Right? If I'm like, oh, is this person an asshole? And I go to their like profile and they have their pronouns in their bio, I'm like, oh, they're probably not an asshole. Like, immediately. I'm like, if they have their pronouns in their bio, I'm going to assume they're not an asshole. I'm going to assume they're for LGBTQ rights. Like just that simple act is a good indicator. And the head developer has their pronouns in the bio, and I'm like, that's good. I know it's a really low bar, but like, it shows a level of intent which I appreciate. And Blue Sky isn't perfect, and some people have been arguing, oh, but they're in beta, it's fine. And it's like, no. There's some things which shouldn't be in it whatsoever. Like, them being a bit, like, there's a reason they're not fully open yet. People keep being like, oh, why are they closed beta? It's because they haven't, the big thing their head developer said to me personally was like, hey, we need to scale our moderation tools. Our moderation tools aren't good enough. He admitted that like a week ago. That's why they're not open yet. And clearly, obviously, this is showing that. So they've got a point, right? This is why Blue Sky isn't open. It's because shit like this needs to be resolved. And they clearly know that. But it doesn't make it any more acceptable. Like, that's a basic thing, right? Blocking the N-word in account creation is an obvious thing. Like, I know it can cause false positives in that example. Like that Danny D. German one. That's an example of a false positive. It's, again, the Scunthorpe problem, right? There is no perfect solution to, like, there's no perfect solution to word filtering. So, again, there's a great Tom Scott video on it. But for some words, it's better to be a bit overcautious than undercautious. Like the M-word is one of those words that you just kind of, in any circumstance. I've been a moderator for like over 15 years now at this point, and I've handled a lot of banned word lists, and there's always one word that is the default. Like, oh, I'm gonna ban the word. It's the M-word. It's always the one I default ban. Like, there's some words I don't. Like the word cripple or the R word, I don't because of some edge cases, but I still have them set to like manually, like I have them set to flag them up. Like it alerts me if someone uses them and stuff like that. And obviously if someone using them in a pejorative sense, we'll remove them or ban them, and you check them, right? But then there's just some you just ban like overall, and I yes, it might mean that someone called Danny D. German can't make the handle Danny D. German, and I'm like, okay, fine, fuck it, I don't care. Who cares? Oh no, I'd rather that than someone be able to make the account with just the M-word. Discord's built-in filter is stupid, it's a false something asshole. Yeah, that's the problem. It's funny watching them on filter on Twitch sometimes, getting annoyed at something totally nice. It's the thing, it's different in different, even within English, it's different. Obviously, the word cunt, in America, lots of Americans are like, cunt's a fucking slur. And the rest of the English-speaking world is like, cunt's not a slur. But in America, cunt's a fucking slur. Apparently. But in England, and Ireland, and Australia, and New Zealand, it's not a slur. Well, up, cunt, fuck him. Right? But in the States, it's often considered a slur. This is the thing, and you're dealing with different languages, like the R word. I really don't like the R word. But again, there's a lot of context where it is just normally used. Like, using fire retardant, using retardant in the context of like an engineer, a machine, or a truck, or planes. I mean, fucking Airbus planes notoriously, when you're flying them in a flight simulator, just shout the word retard at you over and over again. Because in the context of like, in French, it is just, like, word filtering is really difficult. My point is, you literally, if you're worried about false positives, just flag it and have a mod check it. That's literally all you need to do. They have enough mods to do that. It's not actually that difficult of a thing. Like, false positives are fine. You kind of have your filters set, because you're never going to have a perfect filter. Filters are always going to have false positives. They always are. In any context, they're going to have false positives. But you manually check them. That's all you need to do. If you're worried about false positives, you just make it so it flags them to a mod. And the mod goes, oh, that's wrong. Approve. Like, that's all you need to do. Buy some rocks. I'm just chatting about this. I need to take some Gaviscon. I drank a lot. I got some orange juice. I had a McDonald's. I drank a lot and I realized I probably need something in my stomach. I went into a bar because they had a musician on. And I was like, ooh, this is nice. And I walked in halfway through there, like, them performing fucking Black Hole Sun. And I love them performing this guy. There's just like one guy performing Black Hole Sun. And when he's doing the fucking chorus, the Black Hole Sun, he was screaming Black Hole Sun. Like, absolute. He was screaming Black Hole Sun. Black Hole Sun! And like, it's so funny. He wasn't bad. He was fine. He was very loud. And I walked into this bar, bought a beer, sat down to watch the rest of his set, and he finished Black Hole Sun. Like, within 2... I walked in, he was playing Black Hole Sun. He started playing. I got beer, I sat down, I started watching him, and he went, okay, I'm taking a break now. And I'm like, oh, for fuck. And then he got his guitar, and he walked out, and he left, and I'm like, oh, great. But the place was like, oh, we do 2-for-1 beers. And so I had 2 beers, so I just downed 2 fucking beers on my Todd. Classic Matt. Anyway, it's me. So then I bought a vegan McDonald's burger, and I went, yum, yum, yum. I don't like the McPlants. I mean, I like the McPlants. I don't ever get the McPlants. I get the vegetable goujons because I'm a big fan of my boys that don't taste like me. I like vegan stuff. I like vegetarian and vegan stuff, which is like, hey, we're vegetables. And I'm like, I love vegetables. I want vegetables. That's what I want. I like a burger that's like, hello, we are vegetables, and we've just kind of crammed a lot of vegetables in, and we put breadcrumbs around them, and that's all the burger is. And I'm like, delicious. I know some people want a burger that's like, hello, I'm pretending to be beef. Fine. I've had burgers like that. They're nice. That's not my default. I just want a burger that's like vegetables. It's fine. Do you like the veggie wrap at McDonald's? Yes, that's usually what I get. I didn't get the veggie wrap tonight because I wanted like something absorbent. I wanted bready. I got the vegan deluxe or the veggie deluxe. I don't know. Which didn't used to be vegan, but they've changed. It didn't used to be vegan because the mayo they used was normal mayo, but now they use vegan mayo on it, so it's a vegan thing now, which I like. But I like the veggie wrap. The veggie wrap's usually what I get. Like, Danny and Rebecca, a lot of time they're like, oh my god, I'm having a bad day meal is Mackey's. And they'll get like 2 McPlants and no fries. And I will be like, I get the vegan wrap. I'm a wrap boy. I'm a big wrap boy. That's why I'm initial to MC. I'm a big rap boy. I'm like, oh! Wiki, 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 Wild West, Desperado. Spicy veggie one. Yeah, I don't really go to Mackey's very, very often. But I've always imagined veggie-only burgers to be very bready. I mean, no. I mean, the ones that are like that, like, the classic ones, the bird's eye kind of vegetable burgers, which are like peas and carrots and like smush with breadcrumbs around them. And they're just very vegetal. I like them. You can get a bean burger. They're a classic veggie burger. I like them. They're spicy. But they're not trying to be meat at all. Like, they're their own thing. And then you get the modern ones like Beyond Burgers and stuff, right? Which are Impossible Burgers, which are trying to replicate the kind of vibe of meat. Which I like. I'll have them on the odd occasion, but I don't ever default to them. I never default to them. If someone offers me one, I'm like, okay. But if someone's like, hello, we're going to McDonald's, what would you like? I'll be like, I would like the vegetable goujons, please. I want it to taste like vegetables, because vegetables. No, vegetables. Because, again, I've been vegetarian for, like, a long time. I want to say 17 years. I've not eaten meat for a long time. And even when I did eat meat, I've never eaten beef. In my life, I have literally never eaten beef. I've never eaten fish. I have no concept for what beef tastes like. So you're like, try this fucking Beyond Burger. It tastes just like a real burger. I'm like, I have no concept for what beef tastes like. Not a Scooby. Ben, if meat could be grown in a lab, would that be vegan? Actually, this is a question I asked recently. Because in the States, they've approved that. They're growing meat in the States and they're selling it. They've just approved it. The FDA have just approved it in the States. My argument is that it should have a third label. It's not vegan. I wouldn't consider it vegan, but I would consider it ethical. There's a difference. Because I wouldn't eat it because it is genetically identical to meat. And some people are like, oh, that's ethical. And I'm like, I agree. I don't want it. Like, if someone was like, oh, we're doing a vegan burger, but it was literally identical to meat, I wouldn't want it. I want to know it's vegan. Like, I like my vegan stuff to be... everything I eat that's vegan, that's even trying to be meat or trying to be cheese, I want it to have a tell. Like, some people... Like, I've had friends try, like, things like... It's really nice. It's kind of getting the same vibe, but you can tell it's not meat. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want. I want to be able to tell. I need to be able to tell it's not meat. That's all I want. I want to be able to tell it's not meat. I appreciate if you don't want to, but that's a different thing. Like, lab-grown meat is its own thing. Fine. I'm very approving of it. But it is its own thing. You label it as what it is. It's not vegan. I think it's ethical, but it's not vegan. You can't label it as vegan if it is literally genetically identical to actual meat. Yes, you didn't have to kill an animal for it. Well, there's arguments because you need stem cells for them. But the point is, it's a different... Have a third label. Some people are like, oh, well, that makes it more complicated. I'm like, yeah, I know it makes it more complicated, but like, I don't want to eat it. Like, like a Beyond Burger is like fucking made of beetroots. Like, I don't... If it's great, I don't want to eat meat. I don't want it. For the longest time, until like 5-6 years ago, I hadn't even eaten any of the fake meat stuff. I hadn't eaten corn. I hadn't eaten Beyond Burgers. I didn't ever go for it. I never went for that. I never went for it. Because I just didn't care. I never ate meat. I've never eaten beef. I didn't need to replace beef. I've never eaten beef. I've never eaten beef. I've never needed to replace it. And yeah, the thing is, yeah, dietarily, some people might not be able to process it. That's the thing. If I ate actual meat, I think I'd be really sick. Regardless of whether it was grown or killed. It's the same thing. It's its own thing. Also, as I have a chat, I'm going to switch to the game. Will it capture correctly? Have I set it up right? No, I haven't. I need to click that fucking button. Yeah, whack a lab-grown label on it. Admittedly, lab-grown has the same connotations as, like, genetically modified GMO, which everyone's like, ugh, GMO, I'm gonna go organic. And it's like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, so many people are like, oh, I'm only gonna eat organic. And it's like, a lot of organic food is more harmful to the environment than GMO. GMO isn't necessarily bad. A lot of GMO foods are actually much better to society as a whole. Fun fact. Organic's mostly tasteless. I mean, it's different. Some things organic's good for. I like organic maple syrup. I'll only buy organic maple syrup because organic has a different meaning per thing it's labeling. Like, you literally have to check per item as to what the organic actually means. Because for some foods, like, it being organic just means you can grow less of it, and it uses a lot more water, and it literally... And it especially depends where they are, because like in the UK, our pesticide laws are incredibly, incredibly strict. So even if you are a GMO, the amount of pesticides you can use is just so incredibly limited that it's actually incredibly safe to the environment. Even if you're a fully, like, mass-produced, not, like, GMO food that's non-organic. The pesticide laws here are incredibly strict. So, really, organic food is just food that is a lot less dense. You can grow a lot less of it. It's smaller, and it requires a lot more water. So it's just worse for the environment overall. But it depends on the country you're in. It depends on the thing you're buying. Because, again, it depends on the country. I'm in the UK. UK's got very strict laws. In places like the States, it's different. You have to check. So, I had a friend who, like... I was at a friend... I think I mentioned this in another stream. He went out, and I was like, I would like a vegan treat from the shop, please. And he went to the shop. And he came back with this thing. And he was like, it was in the vegan section. I got you it. And I looked, and it's got fucking beef gelatin and milk and egg in it. And I'm like, this is the most non-vegan thing you could have got. And he's like, it was in the vegan section. I was like, it wasn't in the vegan section. It was next to other things that were vegan. And he's like, yeah, I assumed it was vegan because of that. And I'm like, you have to check. And he's like, why would I have to check? I'm like, you have to check everything. This is the life. You have to check. You annoyingly have to check. It's great. You have to check. Being ethical is annoying. It's very annoying. It's a fucking fanny on. But it's important. Oh my god, I rang the bell. So I need to blow my nose. So I'm going to mute my microphone very politely. Wow, I did it. Drinking alcohol makes my sinuses act up. It's fine. So just today, right? This evening, tonight. What time is it? It's 1:45. It's my birthday. It's fine. This is an exploitative birthday stream, by the way. This is the exploitative birthday stream that people often do. Oh, Mustache Cat subscribed for 6 months, like 20 minutes ago. It's fine. The classic exploitative birthday stream, classic exploitative Twitch birthday stream, right? Because the classic Twitch thing is like people going like, "It's my birthday, give me money." Now, on one hand, I'm like, please don't. I don't want to do that because I think it's exploitative. On the other hand, I have spent £100 today. Now, to be clear, right? Now, this is not a humble brag. To be clear, this is just, I like to think, showing the person I am. I spent £30 on cocktails today, right, in a jazz bar, and then I gave the other £70 to homeless people. Because especially on a night, lots of people are like, "Oh mate, please, I need money for a room." And I'm like, "Okay, how much do you need?" Well, usually it's like 20-30 quid. I'm like, "I'll give you 20-30 quid." And I go to a cash bin, and I take 20, and I'm like, "Here you go, mate." And he's like, "I'm gonna go, I need a room." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't care if you're getting a room or not. If you're gonna go off and buy fucking like meth with it, like I'd rather you not buy meth, but if you're gonna do that and it helps, like I don't care." Like, some people are really precious about giving money to fucking homeless people. Like, "Oh, they're going to spend it on booze." I'm like, if it helps them, fine. I had a guy once, and I walked past him, he was like, "Hey, can you spare any change?" I'm like, "No, but I can go buy something for you in the shop." And he's like, I'm like, "Do you want a sandwich or anything?" He's like, "Actually, I'd really like some beer." And I'm like, "Okay, dude." I bought him some beer. I bought him a 6-pack. It's high calorie, and it fucking helps. Fucking being homeless is really fucking hard. It's so fucking hard, and anything that makes it slightly easier for people, fuck it, I'm not going to judge them. I don't care. I don't care. I want them to be safe. Sure. You know, and they're like, one guy was like, "I need 20 quid. I need to be able to get into the Whitechapel." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." I'm like, "Dude, I don't care." And he's like, "No, I really need a room. I've been awake for 3 days straight." And I'm like, I can tell he was really delirious. And I'm like, "Dude, I don't care. If you're literally going to spend this money on, like, buying a load of fucking booze, I don't care. I'd rather you be safe. I want you to be safe with the money, but I don't actually care what you're doing with it." And he's like, "Oh, thank you, man. I don't, but I'm actually going to get a room." I'm like, "Cool." It's the whole thing. Oh, wait, thank you for the 1 twiddle, MD Live. Wait, Kofi, the Kofi things aren't coming up. I have them set to come up, and they're not coming up, but thank you for the Kofi things. Thank you, Nia Getz, for the Kofi boys. Oh, wait, I've got a message on the Insta. It's fine. Well, this got sad. Look, it's important, right? I give loads of money. Like, I spend loads of money. There's a classic thing. Some people ask me for change, and I'm like, I don't carry cash, right? I don't carry cash. But if someone's like, "Hey, I need like 10 quid to do a thing," I'll get cash for them. I'll get them cash. I don't care. Like, my dad gave me like a couple of £100 today. I was like, "Oh, here's your birthday present," and I have spent most of. This is not a humble brag, to be perfectly clear. I just think it's important to emphasize. Because when I say stuff like this, it's not as like, "Oh, I'm actually so moral, look at me." It's a way of me being like, hey, I'm trying to encourage other people to be like that. Because I think it's important. I got like £200 today, and I've already spent I've given half of it to fucking random like people on the fucking street who are like, "Oh my god, please help." Because they need the fucking help. Dude, I fucking bought myself a birthday present today, right? I spent £150 on a birthday present. It's a fluffy representation of Van Gogh's Starry Night, my favourite painting. It's fluffy. It's like a fucking rug, but you put it on the wall. It's a stupid fucking thing. It's a gift for myself, right? I didn't buy the bigger one because I was like, no, I don't need the bigger one. I think that's tomorrow. I'm going to give the £150 to people who fucking need it, because these fuckers, they're on the fucking street, mate! This guy hadn't slept in 3 fucking days! He just wanted a place to sleep for a night. Like, I don't give a fuck. And if he spends that money on fucking booze instead, and the booze helps him deal with it, fine. As long as it helps. Like, dude, it's fucking difficult. It's so fucking hard. I'm not gonna fucking judge someone. It's such a fucking difficult thing. I've spoken to so many people. One guy was like, "This is my 5th time in a row I've been homeless." And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. And he's like, "The Whitechapel Centre won't let me in." The Whitechapel Centre in Liverpool, by the way, is a homeless shelter. It's run by the council. It's accessible to everyone. And it's the only one in the country. Like, it's the only council-run, like, fully homeless centre that just shelters people. But the problem is, people can be banned from there really easily, and it's hard to get there. So, like, they're like, "Oh, it's actually we fully cover everyone." They fucking don't. Because it can A, be full, B, if someone's like a bit of danger. Like if someone goes in and is constantly targeted, they won't be allowed in anymore, even if it's not their fault. And they still have to physically get there, and it can be a long walk, so they need money for a bus, or they need money for food, or whatever the fuck, right? And I'm like, dude, just fucking, it's fine, be safe. Be safe, it's fine. Look, this is the thing. I argue the other fucking day, right? I argue the other fucking day. I will argue with people fucking constantly. So many people are like, oh, I'm drunk. It meant that I committed a rape. Dude, you're just a rapist. If you're a rapist when you're drunk, you're just a rapist. Like, I'm pissed as shit. You know what I am more like, you know when I'm drunk, you know what I'm more likely to do when I'm fucking drunk? I'm more likely to give money away to people who need it on the street because I'm less anxious. That's it. Right? Because, like, I am not someone to, like, self-flagellate, like, not self-flagellate, self-aggrandize myself, right? Because I think it's really gauche, and I think it's really gross, and you see it all the time. Mr. Beast does it all the fucking time. I think it's fucking gross. You'd be like, I don't have a charity. Shut the fuck up, dude. Just be a good person. You don't have to fucking think. I try not to. I'm talking about it now because I think it's important. And I'm having to encourage other people to do it. But, like, if you're a bad person when you're drunk, it's because you're a bad person, and you being drunk is allowing you to be a bad person. Right? If you're, like, come on. God! Fuck off, dude! Come on! Yeah, if you're drunk if you're a dick when you're drunk, you're just a dick. Literally. I do not care. If you're a dick when you're drunk, I'm going to choose America, by the way. Oh, that's Canada. Difficulty 0. By the way, to be clear, you can choose lots of countries. Did I buy the DLC? I've got one of the DLCs. There's a DLC that adds other countries. I don't think I've added it. There's a DLC that adds, like, Ireland. I don't think I've got it. I specifically want to choose America.
Hey, Matt Collins. Sean Spicer here. Hope you're doing well. I understand from Dave that you've been an unbelievably exceptional employee this year. And I just wanted to say thanks. Good going. Hope you continue to be safe and crush it in 2021. 2020 is not been the best year. Although I launched a show. It's on every night at Newsmax. I hope, assume. So that part's been good. But there's been a lot of other stuff about 2020. So it's amazing that you persevered during this time when so many people were struggling. But good on you. Thanks for...
WT Mike, thank you, but you've triggered the full Sean Spicer video.
2021, my friend, you're going to have to crush it. You're going to have to kill it. The vaccine's going to come out. We're going to get back to normal. Sean. And then, Matt, Daniel's bar is going up here. Talking, yeah. You will have to hit that in 2021 because you crushed it in 2020.
I forgot I'd set that up. I set that as a really high thing. I was like, no one will ever get that many twiddles. Oh my god, WT Mac. That is way too... Thank you. That's way too much. That is incredibly generous. That is way too much. That's way too much. That's incredibly generous. That'll pay for all the money I gave away today. God, that's the most fucking... That sounds really exploitative. I very much try to not be exploitative. I don't want to be like, well, actually, I'm really generous. I actually give all my money away to homeless people. I don't give all my... I spend my money on random shit. You know how many frames I've bought this month? I spent money on loads of random shit. I bought a fluffy Starry Night, mate. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, actually, I'm the perfect human being. I give all my money away to the poor. I'm not that person. But I try. That's the important thing. Literally too much because it triggered so... Literally, I forgot it. I set it up ages ago. Shh. Connor Davis. Connor, if I wasn't worried about my job security, I'd give 10k bits right now to trigger it again. And look, like, my thing with Twitch, and my thing with anything, please don't. Like, if you don't have the money, don't fucking give it. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. I think it's really kind. But I've seen people give, like, twiddles or bits, being like, hey, this is the last of my money. I'm like, don't fucking do that. Do not do that. Keep your money. Please, God, keep your money. If it's the last thing, only give it if you can fucking fully spare it. If it is the last of money, fucking keep it. Buy something for yourself. It's more important. It is more important. Right? People like give it to, because in the Nerdcube context, it's like people give it to Nerdcube and like, oh my god, it's the last of my £5. Like, dude, like, Daniel's buying fucking hot toys, right? He deserves this fucking hot toy. If he wants to buy a hot toy, he can buy a hot toy. He's got disposable income. The point is, you need the £5 more than Daniel needs the £5, and more than we need the £5. I appreciate it greatly. Like, we appreciate it greatly, but literally only give money if you can fully, it is spare. Do not ever, like fucking, like on Patreon, it's a different thing now, because obviously you're like, people who pay for the prints are getting a thing. You're getting a thing for the money. We're giving you a thing, which is a different value proposition. But if you're just like actually donating in the context, you know, how many frames per second do you get? I don't know what that means. Basically drunk Irish Jesus. That's weird. God, 10,000 twiddles. I don't even know how much is 10,000. It's like that's $100, isn't it? Fucking hell, it's really nice. Thank you, WT Mike, for the one twiddle. Just the thing, I appreciate it. I appreciate the gesture, if nothing else. Also, every time I tab out of Democracy 4, the music stops. What platform do you get the biggest cut from? Well, that's a complicated question, because on Twitch, you see, when you give twiddles, when you buy the twiddles in the first place, Twitch take their cut when you buy the twiddles. If you give 100,000 twiddles, that's, I think each twiddle is a cent. It is worth exactly a cent. So if someone gives me 100,000 bits, it is worth $100. Exactly. But when you buy 100,000 twiddles, you don't pay $100. You pay like 100 and whatever. And Twitch takes their cut before you do it. So when you give it, I get the full amount. And then Ko-fi, if you give it over Ko-fi, it's just through PayPal.me. PayPal take a processing fee. I don't know how much it is. Everywhere takes a processing fee. That's how the world works. Thanks. Whatever. It's basically irrelevant. Do you get YouTube Premium revenue on the Mattophobia channel? I don't think so. I don't think the Mattophobia channel's partnered anymore. I don't know. Okay, wait. United States. No, not three. We're not doing 3 parties. It's a 2-party system. It's a 2-party system. We gotta have the Republicans. We gotta have... Do I want to be a Democrat? I don't like the American Democrats. But they are the 2 parties. It's America. Maybe I want to be a 3-party system where I'm a new party. The Republican Party. Where... Racist. Okay. A lot of Americans be like, the Republicans aren't racist. They are. Like, I'm sorry. I will argue in defense of like conservatives in the UK. Like, they're not a racist party. A lot of them are racist. They're not a racist party. The fucking head of the party is an Indian man, for fuck's sake. Right? Like, there's racism in the party. There's systemic issues in the party. I'm not going to deny that. But it's not the, like, come on. The Republicans in the States, they're racist. They are just racist. Yeah. Like, not all of them are racist, but the Republicans, I would argue the vast majority of them are racist. Whereas conservatives, I'd argue a lot of them are racist, but it's a different level. Like, I always say the Tories, people compare the Tories to the Republicans in the States. No. The Tories are closer to the Democrats. I would argue the Tories and the Democrats are very similar to each other. I used to say the Labour Party were their own thing, but the Labour Party are very similar to Labour Party. God, Keir Starmer's Labour is shit. Keir Starmer's Labour has dropped every fucking promise they fucking made. They've been like, hey, we're just going to undermine everything we do because Keir Starmer's a fucking cunt. God, I fucking hate Keir Starmer. He's such a boring little cunt. And you have good people in both parties. God, I love AOC. I love AOC. AOC is fucking wonderful. Ilhan Omar. God, I love her. She's great. Fuck. Oh, God, I love AOC. AOC's so wonderful. Bernie's great. I love Bernie. Everyone loves Bernie. Jezza, Jeremy Corbyn, right? Bad fucking leader. He was a bad leader. He's a good guy. He's a bad leader. He's a good guy. I like him. He's a good guy. He's a bad leader. But I like him. Keir Starmer's a fucking... It's just a wet blanket. He's so fucking boring. Labour, I wouldn't say Labour have moved to the right. It's Keir Starmer's moved it. It's just made it more fucking... It's made it way more... Labour is a centrist party now. It's not a right-wing party. I would strongly argue that it's not a right-wing party, but it is a centrist party. And the Lib Dems are just awkwardly sat there spinning around in place. Being like, no, we don't know where we are. Fuck the Lib Dems. Okay, I'm gonna... What do I want to be? Do I want to be the Democrat party? I'm gonna be the Green... you know what? I'm going to make a new party. Democrats. The Democratic Party. Where you Less. I'm going to have typed it. And then, right, I'm going to make a third party. I'm going to be the Green Party. I'm bringing the Green Party to the States. I'm not being the Monster Raving Loony Party. The Monster Raving Loony Party are a joke party. The Green Party are an actual party. I don't love the Green Party. I'm a member of the Green Party, to be perfectly clear. I give money to the Green Party. I'm a member of the Green Party. I don't agree with all the Green Party stances. I don't agree with their stance on nuclear energy. They have this, like, fucking weirdly, like, hardline stance against nuclear energy. I'm like, dude, nuclear energy is not perfect. I fully admit to that, but it's better than fucking, like, natural gas. I would rather have nuclear energy than natural gas. Like, even if we're using it just as a purely transitional thing, we should be using it as a purely transitional thing. Nuclear energy is way better for the environment. And, like, some people are like, but nuclear energy is dangerous. And I'm like, fucking coal, fucking oil, so much more dangerous on a fucking per capita level. Everyone's like, it's fucking like planes. Everyone's like, oh, but the plane crashes happen. I'm like, yeah, plane crashes happen like once a fucking year. Planes are the safest fucking mode of transport, statistically speaking. You're more likely to die walking around than being on a plane. Nuclear, like, oh, but nuclear, like, fucking Fukushima. Fucking God, Fukushima. Or fucking, the other one. Oh my god, why can't I remember it? The Ukrainian... You know what I mean? Point is, they were 2 fucking incidents. And granted, they were horrible. Massive. But even with both of those, the nuclear power industry has killed less people per kilowatt hour than the oil industry and the gas industry, and all of them combined, like, by a fucking factor of, like, 100. Like, it is such a safe power source. I know it's scary, but it's fucking safe as shit. And Germany fucking got rid of all of their nuclear power plants because of fucking political pressure. Like, fucking idiots. Because I don't like how fucking Merkel's party, because when Merkel was in power, it's a fucking Christian fucking... It's basically the DUP, but German, and they're like, we don't like nuclear power. Like, fuck off, Merkel. The French have went, oh, they've went all in on nuclear power. The French, EDF, they fucking love nuclear power. France is basically powered by nuclear power. The French and the British were supposed to make nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, right? There was supposed to be a joint thing to make, like, a joint aircraft carrier that both navies could have, but the British were like, we don't want a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. We don't like nuclear power. Because they only have, like, They only have one dock that can service nuclear fucking reactors, and it's in Scotland, and it services, like, nuclear fucking submarines, like Trident submarines. So the British then were like, no, we're gonna make oil-powered, like, aircraft carriers. Which, admittedly, the reasoning was sound, because the whole thing was like, oh, but the nuclear-powered fucking aircraft carriers can go forever, and it's like, yeah, but they need resupplying for literally everything else. They need resupplying for their aircraft fuel, the food, like, everything else needs resupplying on, like, a weekly fucking basis, so who gives a fuck if its main power source can keep going? Yeah, sure, the reactor or the ship can go for months, but, like, yes, that everyone would starve, none of the aircraft would fucking work, it doesn't make a difference. So their argument was like, well, we need to refuel it anyway, so fuck it, which is a fair argument. My point stands, the British were so anti-fucking nuclear, where the French love their fucking nuclear ships. Good for the French. Abandoned projects. Worth noting that France's nuclear fuel is for the most part effectively stolen from former colonies. Obviously, everything the British and the French do is stolen from former colonies. That is the fucking underlying thing for anything those countries do. What? Oh, they're doing a thing. Yeah, they probably stole it. Obviously. Kate Branson, the only main bad thing I can think of from nuclear waste power is the waste. It is. Nuclear waste is bad. To be clear, but this is the thing. We're not comparing nuclear waste to, like, fully green fuels. We're talking about it compared to, like, fucking gas and coal. And it's not perfect, obviously, but my whole adage in life, especially as I've become more of an adult, is do not let perfect be the enemy of good. Improvement is good. Always be improved. Do the best you fucking can at any one time. Even if the best isn't perfect, as long as you're doing the best you can. That's the thing. And the fact that Germany kept closing nuclear reactors. Fucking Tom Scott has a video on a German nuclear reactor. The Germans built a fully functional nuclear reactor for billions. And then decided not to open it. They spend so much money. Anyway, let's make my Americans. Every time I've tried to fix America, and by fix America, I do mean make it into a socialist utopia. I always do it with the UK. I did it when I did a stream this in the UK during the coronation. I always make the UK into a socialist utopia, and everyone's happy and everyone likes me. Every time I've tried to do it in America, I have been assassinated every single time. See, this person is like, oh, I'm loyal to you. I am sympathetic with religious capitalists, and I like law and order. Now, that's a Republican. We don't want her. Fuck that bitch. We want Motorist socialist. Weird. Ethnic minorities and the capitalist. That's an interesting one. But she's an old woman with purple hair, which is like the perfect thing. This person is sympathetic with conservatives and socialists, which is wild. This is for foreign policy. We don't want a patriot necessarily. We want... she's good with socialist and liberalist. She's good with campaigning. She wants law and order, public services, welfare. I don't want to give... They want public. They're foreign policy, ethnic minorities, capitalism. Foreign policy, they want to be... Oh, them! Them! Natalie Chavez. Liberal socialist, higher. Foreign policy, thank you. Welfare. Welfare, you want to be welfare? Yes. Gabrielle Collins, we like a Collins. We like a Collins. That was Austrian, not German. I can't remember. But point stands. I mean, the Germans did close literally all of the nuclear reactors. I mean, the problem with nuclear waste is obviously disposing of it. But I mean, as we're going now, we're getting better things to like repurpose nuclear waste. And then disposing of it, the huge problem is obviously the half-life of a lot of nuclear waste is incredibly long. You can buy it. The Finnish have a lot of these like fully built mines that you fill it in, you pull it with copper, and then you put fucking concrete over it, and you just fully bury it in. But then you basically need to put sign. There's the whole argument of like, oh, how do we design signage that will communicate this area as a danger for literally thousands of years? Even if language changes completely, how do we communicate this area as danger no matter what? Like, this is dangerous, please don't dig it. Like, you have to make it obvious that it's dangerous, but not like a, oh my god, please don't be curious level. It's difficult, but the point is, it's better than fucking coal and gas. Again, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. This person wants to be economy. Conservative capitalist. No, we don't want that. Socialist parents. You know, that'll work. Liberal poor. Economy. Likes the poor. We like that. Tax. Retired patriots. No. We don't like retired patriots. Catherine Turner likes state employees and socialism. We like her. State employees and socialists. Gabrielle Morales. Law and order. Transport. Commuter. No, conservatives. Socialist state employers. We like Catherine Turner. Public services. Religious capitalists. We don't like them. Socialist conservatives. Weird. We're not going to do that. Public services. We don't want a motorist for public services. We want a fucking... an environmentalist for public services. State employees, environmentalists. Bad for public service. Right, they want welfare reform policy. For fuck's sake. Public services. Self-employed middle income. Religious capitalists. No! Conservatives, commuters. No! Conservative capitalists. No! Self-employed middle income. Fine, we'll take them. They're the worst. They're the least bad. Law and order. Trade unionists. I mean, conservative trade unionists. Ethnic minorities, capitalism. I mean, state employees, socialist for law and order. Maybe. Law and order, capitalist conservatives. No. Capitalist religious. No. Middle income retired. Okay, we're going to take socialist state employees. Transport, we want... They like commuters, but they like conservatism. We don't like that. Transport, motorist socialists. That might not be bad. Socialist parents. Maybe. Ethnic minorities liberal. We'll take that. What about a conservative capitalist instead? Shh, no. Okay. Welcome to America. This is America. Whoop! Thanks. It's fine. Rockland's back with hot chocolate. Wait, shit! Oh, I've got my moonshine. Right, chat. Wild berry, sticky toffee, very cherry, a tough nut. I'm gonna drink all four. I had all four like 2 days ago. I've drank every day this week. I drink like normally like every like fortnight. I've drank a lot this week. I'm having a good week. Matt's having a good time. It's fine. Everyone's fine. Everyone's having a good day. I like the cherry. I like the berry is my favorite one. Sticky toffee was my least favorite, even though I thought it'd be my most favorite. Tough nut, very nutty, very nice. Cherry's very cherry. It's very nice. Wild berry sounds good. Wild berry is good, but it's my favorite. But that's the thing. I'm doing all four. And now here's the problem with the states. Every time I've literally done the United States in Democracy 3, I have been assassinated. I mean, you'll see the intelligence briefing was a big... Like, in the UK, the intelligence briefing wasn't a big thing. Domestic terrorist organizations were not a thing in the UK. Like, I had one group that was a bit there, but, like, I could keep surveillance low. I could keep domestic security services really low in the UK, and it was fine. In the States, turns out, when you've got a load of fucking, like, rabid fucking wankers with guns, they're gonna commit terrorism. What a surprise! Holy shit, who knew? So I've got to be careful. This is the problem with politics, right? Because politics isn't about idealism. You've got to mix your idealism with realism simultaneously, which is annoying, right? But that's how the world works. So you gotta move the US in a way towards the right thing, but in a way that is actually progressive and isn't going to fuck everyone over. That's the balance. That's the difficulty with politics. That's the thing. You can have really good ideals in politics, but you need to be able to play the game, and I'm bad at playing the game. So... yeah, you have to find a compromise. That's the thing with politics. You have to find a compromise. That's the annoying thing, right? This is the thing with Brexit, right? There was a worry with Brexit that, like, I was like, oh, but if it was reversed, right? If 48% of people voted to leave the EU and 52% of people decided to stay, that's still a huge issue. If almost half the fucking country want to be out of a thing, you can't entirely ignore their opinion. I don't agree with the method of, oh, just... The minor majority gets to decide for the... Like, that's why I don't agree with Brexit inherently, because I don't think the fact that half the country want to leave was a reason to just completely leave. If it's just slightly over half the country want to leave, it means there is a compromise there. Surely. Politics, man. It's complicated. Narcotics are... okay, let's double check with everything in the States. We've got this. Gender transition is doctor's agreement. Okay, that's good. There's some, like... don't have a right to privacy currently. That's fine. The States is worse. Obviously. Now, the States, notably, I think, yeah, the military spending is comically large. Now, to be clear, what's really funny about this figure is that's really low. Like, that says 169 billion. This is per, like, quarter. Which would be what? Like, about 650 billion... it was 640 billion per year. The US spends more than that per year on the military. That's low. Actually, if anything, the highest we can put it to is actually not even touching what the US actually spends on the military force. So that's a whole thing. I obviously want to lower this a lot because it's currently constituting almost... literally 15% of our entire expenditure is this just incredible military industrial complex because it's America. The UK doesn't do that. The UK's actual military spending is surprisingly low. We have a small military. There's a whole figure that China is actually producing an entire Royal Navy every 4 years because the Royal Navy isn't actually that big. UK military spending isn't actually that high. It's great. What's this? Nuclear weapons. Oh, what? We have a lot of nuclear weapons. What a surprise, America. What's this? A child benefit. That's high. That's good. State pensions, low. Yeah, the UK is a lot more socialist than the States. Income, 45%. That's pretty high. Where is that? Payroll tax, medium. Where is that? 45%. Is that on, deferred profits? No. Or we can ban crypto. I mean, that's tempting. We basically need to move the country toward very strong intellectual property rights. That makes sense. We need to move the country toward a much more sort of progressive thing. And the way you do that in democracy, and the way you do that in general politics, is you don't just enact progressive policies right out the gate. You enact education. Because it turns out, right, if people are interacting with other like ethnic groups on the regular and are learning about other cultures, they're actually a lot more accepting of them. Who knew? Who knew? So what you need to focus on is education. You focus on education. Oh, we got a lot of respiratory disease. We got a lot of obesity. Whoa, what? Obesity in America? Who knew? Yeah, the UK have a small army with nuclear subs. Like, the UK have quite a powerful military, but it's a very, very, very focused military. It's a scalpel, not a, America's got a big hammer. The UK have a scalpel. I'm not saying that's necessarily good, but it's better. It's better than the US, just spending all the money in the fucking world. And the funny thing about America is they spend all the money in the world on the military, but then, like, they, you know, no, famously, they were like, let's go to Korea. Let's do a war in Korea. Oh, we lost. Let's go to... Oh, we lost in Vietnam. Okay. Iraq. Oh, we lost in Iraq. What's the point? They spend all the fucking money. They spend so much fucking money. They keep losing wars. What's the point? All the money if you're losing wars. It's almost like the money exists to pay the military-industrial complex to make, like, tanks and benefit shareholders of like, fucking Boeing and McDonnell Douglas and, like, all of these military companies, and not actually to benefit the society they live in. What? Who knew? Isn't the US military doctrine that they need a military large enough to win a war against every other country on Earth combined? Yes, but they can't win a war against fucking... They couldn't win a war against fucking Vietnamese rebels. I mean, there's that classic fucking... I love the quote from Iron Man 1 from Jeff fucking Bridges. Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps, right? The US military, right? They left Afghanistan, right? Well, Afghanistan, Iraq. Fuck, wait, which... God, literally... Afghanistan. The fucking Taliban, it was a day! They were at war for 15 fucking years, and the Taliban took it over in a day! The Taliban, famously a very underfunded, very unorganized group, with bad hardware, mainly working out of caves. They lost. Literally, the US couldn't win. The US can't win a war against a worm. They control all the money they want fucking want of it. They're incompetent. That's the problem. They always justify the fucking military spending as like, oh, we need to be able to do this. They fucking can't. They lost in Iraq. They lost in Afghanistan. They lost in Vietnam. They lost in Korea. Well, what's the fucking point in all the fucking money? Literally. This is the thing with the US. If they were winning every war they were in, I might be a little more understanding. But they are not. They are losing every war, but somehow spending more than the entire world combined. Like, fucking... Everyone's like, oh, they're preparing for a war with China. I guarantee you, I do not think the US could win a war with China. Maybe with Russia. Notably, Russia, comically, especially in Ukraine, have been shown to be incredibly ineffectual, which is not surprising. Admittedly, I don't think China would be as ineffectual as people think, because the Chinese military, while very well funded and very well equipped, have not really had much experience. But the point stands, as I don't think, like, they couldn't win a war. They couldn't win a war against the fucking Vietnamese, for fuck's sake. They couldn't win a war against the Viet Cong. They were using chemical weapons against the Viet Cong, and they still lost. They were using weapons that are so abominable that they constitute war crimes now, and they still lost. Fuck me. Like, it's ludicrous, man. Absolutely fucking ludicrous. Also, thank you for Rob for the Ko-fi. Admittedly, people are giving Ko-fi. I don't know if they're in Twitch chat because it's on the Twitter. Also, I don't know. Point stands. Hilarious. Not hilarious. Sad. Depressing. Right, we got religion. We want secularity of education to be... We want it to be secular at the bare minimum. Maybe atheist. But secular at the bare minimum. Like, there's things I want to... Obviously, there's things I want to aim to. I think increasing education early on is important. Increasing public services early on. We obviously want to have a fully... public health service. That's something that already exists in the UK, obviously. Now, you'll notice here, we're spending 13 billion currently for excellent health provision. For full health provision, we're spending 300 billion. We're spending 169 billion on the fucking military, and 16 billion on, like, literally, we could pay for so much healthcare if we just lower the military. State pensions are quite high. Child benefits really high. Family planning's not that high. State housing's not very high. Income tax is surprisingly high. Election robocalls. Banned. Why does it cost so much to... I mean, fine. Kate Branson, if I remember hearing, wasn't the Vietnamese funded by Russia? I mean, the Soviet Union did fund a lot of sort of anti-American wars. I mean, obviously Korea was supported by the Soviet Union, and a lot of the Vietnamese were supported by the Soviet Union. But you gotta remember again, still, even then, even though the Viet Cong was supported by the Soviet Union in some ways, the US did still, the most powerful military in the world with the best technology in the world, still lost to basically a force that was entirely vibe based and that relied on tunnels and just kind of like it wasn't a strongly organized military, the Viet Cong. And they still fucking lost. Like, literally, the US are fucking useless. Like, they only won in Japan because they fucking nuked them. Like, and the US are like, oh, we helped win World War Two. Yeah, they helped win World War fucking Two because they just turned up and they provided more numbers. The British and the French fucking won World War Two. The Soviets are the main ones who fucking won World War Two. The Americans just turn up like, World War One, they didn't fucking bother. The US fucking turned up lame and like, oh, we don't want... Woodrow Wilson sat there being like, oh, I don't want to get involved. Ooh, I'm Woodrow Wilson. Fuck off, Woodrow Wilson, you fucking little racist cunt. Woodrow Wilson was a racist fucking cunt. Woodrow Wilson was a horrible cunt, just to be clear. I don't know if you learned about Woodrow Wilson much in schools, but he was a horrible fucking cunt. I learned about it in school. I remember not learning about him being a horrible cunt, but then I read about him. God, he was a horrible cunt. He was a huge white supremacist, Woodrow Wilson. Fuck me, his wife was a huge white supremacist as well. We're gonna have some Wildberry moonshine. I mean, America fought Japan on their own. Yeah, but again, they nuked them. They only won because they were able to nuke them, and they had no retaliation. America only won that war because they had the nukes and no one else had the nukes. That was just pure luck at that point. Yeah, the US only ended World War II because of Pearl Harbor. And again, you'll hear it in Britain a lot. They're like, we went to war with the Nazis because of the concentration camps. They didn't go to war with Nazis because of the concentration camps. The Chinese currently have concentration camps. The Chinese currently have concentration camps for the Uyghur Muslims. Like, the UK don't have, like, the Western world and the fucking Allied powers did not have a problem with the concentration camps, really. They had a problem with the fact that Hitler was like, I want to take over the UK. That was the problem. And the Americans were like, oh my god, the Axis powers are going to try and take over the entire Western world. That was why they went to war against them. They never fucking problem with concentration camps. The Americans had fucking concentration camps for the Japanese. They always fucking ignore that. The Americans rounded up fucking Japanese... They rounded up Japanese descendants in the States. Americans, right? American Japanese people who had American citizenship, who were American, in America, who had Japanese descendants, who were born in America, who just had Japanese descendants, were rounded up in the States and put in fucking concentration camps for 5 fucking years. George Takei was notably one of them. For years, they were put in concentration camps. And then they were finally released, but they'd had all their assets taken from them. They had all the money taken from them. They were just dumped in a fucking city with $50 and told, well, fucking figure it out, you're free now. Fuck America. That fucking every fucking American that's like, oh, actually, America's the land of the free. No, they're fucking lying. America's the land of the fucking oppressed. They have the highest prison population in the world by, per capita by a huge fucking margin. America are a horribly oppressive country that is incredibly hypocritical, that keeps claiming that they're the land of the free and then we speak for free rights and we actually speak for liberty, and they absolutely don't. They're responsible for some of the worst heinous war crimes in the world. They're responsible for the entire instability in South America. They committed so many fucking coups. The Japanese committed so many fucking war crimes in China, right? There's the famous fucking place where they were committing vivisection. The Japanese were committing vivisections. They were literally dissecting people alive. And the Americans came in and just took all the research. They're like, oh, we're going to use this. Ooh, look at all this research. Ooh, the Americans, they committed so many fucking experiments against black people, injecting them with fucking heroin and methamphetamine to just force them to fucking die and see what happened. Oh, America's a horrible place. Fuck America. This is the thing, the UK, I hate the UK, but the UK, for the most part, are reasonably honest about who they are. America sits there and goes, actually, we're really good, and we're the land of the free, and we're for liberty and freedom. And they are absolutely fucking not. The US are incredibly oppressive. The problem the US have with China isn't the fact that China have a different political system. It's the fact that China threatens them on the global order. That's the only issue. It is not that China are more oppressive than the United States. They're not. They are just as oppressive as the United States. They're like, oh, but China is stealing all your data. The Americans are stealing more fucking data than the Chinese. Like, it's not an issue of, oh, we're worried about the Americans' data. They don't care about the Americans' data. They're worried about the Chinese getting the Americans' data. They're worried about another power having the same power they have because fuck America. Hey, Unicrats! This is classic Matt just complaining about America and being drunk. This berry moonshine's fucking good, man. It's like alcoholic Ribena. My friend sent me this little kit, and I was like, oh my god, these are really good. And I was like, oh, are you trying to sell me moonshine? Like, well, I do have a referral code. I'm definitely going to be buying more moonshine. Oh, by the way, I have bought more liquors, and I'm at the point now with my Mixel. I use Mixel as my little cocktail app, and Mixel's really good because you put everything that's in your like bar into Mixel, and it'll tell you what you can make. But there's a feature in Mixel where you can say, "Hey, calculate what the best extra liquors for me to buy are. Like, what would enable the most extra recipes to buy?" And you can kind of prioritize what you want to buy. And I bought like a few of them, and they're coming soon. And I can make basically everything now. I've basically got a fully stocked bar now, which is sick. I can finally make tiki cocktails. Because I bought a load of rum. And I bought like all Greek syrup and stuff like that. Sick. Ideal copy, it doesn't mean to be the third of the US population on the watch list. Sort of defeats the point objective having the list when there's so many people on it. Yeah. I mean, during the George Floyd protests, literally, unmarked minivans, right? Unmarked minivans full of just random guys, like usually secret police and the police, completely unmarked in civilian clothing, were literally grabbing random fucking people off the street and shoving them, like putting a hood over their head and shoving them to the back of a minivan and driving away. Like, officially. Like, they were law enforcement. And the thing is, in the States, people kind of see that to a degree and are like, oh, that sounds like the States. And the rest of the world, and I look at that and going, oh my god. What? Because if that was happening in the UK, oh my god, what the fuck, there'd be anarchy. That's just happening in the UK. Oh my god, fuck the United States, man. I fucking hate the United. This isn't a dig if you're American. Like, it's not. Obviously, when I say I hate the United States, it's not a nationalistic thing. It is a purely like, it is a cultural, political thing. Like, someone being American is not fucking. It never is, right? Obviously. We're talking in a purely political standpoint here. Drunk Matt, right? Unsurprisingly, will angrily rant about the United States. It'll copy. We do have 70% of the world's CCTV cameras here in the UK. It's probably not true anymore, because China have a lot. The thing with CCTV, I will say, I'm a bit mixed on CCTV, because I'm not actually against CCTV in public places. I'm against surveillance, like private surveillance, but if you're in a public space, I'm not against the idea of CCTV. It can be, if you're in a public space with a lot of people, I actually think it can be generally it can be a good thing. The key point there is because it can be abused. The thing with the UK, though, for if nothing else, every UK agency is so comically underfunded. This is the thing, UK CCTV, the reason I'm never that worried about UK CCTV is, like, I know people who have access to all the CCTV, like in Liverpool, for example, right? They aren't looking. Like, there's like 5 of them. Like, they have no time. That's the thing in the UK. Every single agency, they technically have access to everything. They don't have the money or time. It's the common trend in the UK. In the States, all these agencies have unlimited money and fucking time, right? In the UK, it's like Derek. It's Derek in a fucking shipping container with a fucking Lenovo ThinkBook from 2007. You know? And he's not paid enough, really. He's on 20 grand a fucking year, and he's working like fucking 9 hours a day, and he doesn't know what's going on. It's the classic UK. It's incompetence in the UK. Yeah, I'm fine with CCTV in public, because I think it does actually add a level of safety. Again, but this is the thing. Many things, there's a fine line between what's good and what's suppressive. That's the classic. Right, in the States, we need to improve education, first of all, antisocial behavior. The main issues are antisocial behavior. My popularity is bad. Prison overcrowding, unsurprisingly, very bad, because we're in the United States. Prisons, overcrowded cells. Of course, we're underfunding prisons. Private prisons exist. I don't want private prisons. We don't want private prisons. We want to fund prisons higher. Wait, what? I think we want to put more funding into prisons eventually. As much as I don't want prisons, I think in the short term, we need to fund prisons better just to make sure people in prisons are getting more care and support in this transitional period. Obviously, the goal is to get people out of prisons. But in the transitional period, I think we want we want better funding for prisons just to make sure people are better treated within prisons. It would reduce crime as well. A big point in this game, something that's slightly confusing. When you see a graph like this, you'll see the red doesn't necessarily mean bad. Red just means it's reducing a thing. And the red here, obviously, massively reduces prison overcrowding, which is a good thing. It reduces crime. And you look at this going, oh, red crime equal bad. No, this is reducing crime. It just means, that's what it means. And everyone likes it. Actually, conservatives like it, liberals like it because you're treating prisoners better. Conservatives like it because you're funding prisons better. State employees like it. This is an actual, genuinely liked thing. It's obviously very expensive, though, but we are spending a fucking huge amount of money anyway, so who gives a fuck? I'm going to do that. I'm doing that. I'm going to increase education. Next time. Bits and bobs. To see, give us some political capital, increasing prison funding for the time being. The Conservatives will like it. It's like, prisons are important. Liberals like it because it's like, we're treating prisoners better, which I think is a good short-term thing. Thank you, Jack. Don't call me Matty. I keep saying this to people, right? When I moved from Ireland, I started going by Matt. I was always went by Matthew in Ireland. And when I moved to England, I specifically started going by Matt. And the reason I started going by Matt is because in Ireland, when people say hello, Matthew, they don't say hello, Matthew. You say, hello, Matcha. How you doing, Matcha? How you doing, Matcha? Matcha, it's almost like matcha tea. How you doing, Matcha? Matcha. Oh, how you doing, Matcha? I don't see you. How you doing, Matcha? I haven't seen you in a long time. Oh, how you doing, Matcha? Oh, but Jesus, Matcha, I ain't seen you in a long time. You know, it's casual. Matcha sounds nice. It is soft. It's casual. Hi, you know, how you doing, Matcha? Matcha. 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 Sick, right? I like it as a term. And I moved to the UK and everyone's like, good evening, Matthew. And I'm like, oh, that sounds harsh. That's harsh and unpleasant. That's harsh and unpleasant, and I don't like it. You know, oh, how you doing, Matcha? Versus, how are you doing, Matthew? How are you doing, Matthew? Sounds like I'm being told off. How you doing, Matcha? It's casual, right? How you doing, Matcha? I'll show you be grand, Matcha. I'm actually sure you be grand. You're coming over here and you're doing all this. And you're I'll be fucking grand, right? When you go to England, like, oh, you're coming over here and you're Matthew. You're fucking all right. You know, fuck off, right? I don't like it. So start going to Matt, and I don't love Matt. And Matt sounds weird now in like an Irish accent because it's like, how you doing, Matt? Matt says, no, continue. Matty. I don't like Matty. Matty in England, it's like, how are you doing, Matty? Don't like it. Sounds off-putting. In a dub accent, how you doing, Matty? I don't like it. Matty, just call me Matty. Call me Matty. I don't like Matty. It's like the middle ground between the two. I hate it. Thank you. That's been my TED talk about why I don't like the name Matty. But we like Matt and we like Matcha. But we like Matthew in Ireland and we like Matt in England. Don't know about Glasgow. How do Glaswegians pronounce it? Oh, how you doing, Matcha? Matthew. I mean, it's more Matthew. Matthew. Oh, how you doing, Matcha? Sorry, I apologise to all the... Oh, there's a Nancy Pelosi quote. Fuck Nancy Pelosi. Budget at 100 billion. Gosh! I wonder what would save us 100 billion. Oh, God, I wonder if any reducing military spending would save us 100 million. But we have drug addiction problem. What a surprise. Unemployment's contributing to it. Prison overcrowding is massively contributing to it. Poverty is massively contributing to it. Mental health is massively contributing to it. Armed police is reducing it, but, like, armed police is a fucking hammer. You don't need armed police if you're actually sorting social issues. It's the classic American thing. The American thing is going, oh my God. Oh, no, I didn't mean to. Oh. The classic American thing is being like, oh, drugs are a problem. Right? And the solution to drugs being a problem is to decriminalize drugs, to better support people, to have better healthcare, to better have better social services, have better income support, have better support for people impoverished, have better housing support, have better social care, everything, right? That's how you solve the problem of drug abuse. Is you solve those core issues. But the Americans are like, no. We must punish them with guns. That's a classic American thing. And they spend so much fucking money on, like, armed police. But, like, we better shoot all of the druggies. And I'm like, no, stop. Like, no, that'll solve it. I'm like, stop. And they just kill lots of people with substance abuse issues. And they mainly have substance abuse issues because of societal issues, which cause them to have substance abuse issues. Classic America. America beats people down to the point they're, like, so fucked that they are just in a position where they are getting fucked, and then they shoot them for being fucked. Classic America. I love America. They're really good. Ban tobacco adverts. Yes. Fuck tobacco adverts. Fuck them. If you wanna do tobacco, you're allowed to do tobacco, right? I'm a liberal, right? I believe you have the right to be able to do what you want with your body. I disagree with you doing tobacco, but I agree you have a right to do what the fuck you want with your body. The difference is, I'm not going to allow it to advertisement. I'm not going to allow you to do it in fucking inside where it can harm other people. I'm not going to allow you to do it in cars where you're going to harm kids. I'm not going to allow you to do it in a place where you're going to harm other people. Like, if you want to do something that's going to harm yourself, right, and no one else, you're allowed to. I'm going to discourage you from doing it, but you're allowed to do that. You're allowed. Like, you have the right to do that. As long as you don't hurt anyone else, but you are. I'm not going to encourage you, I'm going to discourage you. But you're allowed. But I'm going to discourage you. The liberals don't like me banning tobacco adverts because it's a liberal, but I'm like, no, you're still allowed. I'm not banning cigarettes. Fuck off. Security effectiveness is poor. Obviously, we want to ban guns. Yeah, banning guns in America is a bit. Yeah, the Patriots don't like me banning guns. It doesn't cost much to ban guns. It's only 23 political capital to ban guns, surprisingly. But I think we should do that. Tasers are difficult. A lot of people argue for tasers, but it's because they have the idea of tasers from video games, where they're like, oh, it stops someone. Tasers are kind of dangerous. In the UK, only certain police are allowed to be armed with tasers, and they have to have very special training, because tasers can kill you, especially depending on where they hit you. They can cause cardiac arrest, and they can kill you. And obviously it depends on the person. A person with a heart condition can just be killed by a taser regardless of where you hit them. That's why the reason in the UK, the use of tasers, and especially the use of firearms, is incredibly limited and incredibly regulated, even within police. And I actually really like the way the UK police use tasers and firearms, in that they use them in such an incredibly limited way. If you're a firearms officer in the UK police, or in any UK police force, if you fire a bullet at any point, you are suspended immediately. And there is a full investigation. Even if you don't hit anything. The fact that you fired a bullet is enough grounds for suspension. It's not a punishment. It's the fact that, oh, you fired a bullet, we need to fully investigate why you fired a bullet, because that's incredibly dangerous. And then they can determine, oh my god, you should not have fired a bullet. You only use that if you absolutely have to. It is a last resort. It is oh my god, someone is running at you with a bomb, right? And it is a last resort. The firearms police in the UK, right? I've interacted with a lot of them. They're scary, to be clear, but they are the most professional people I've ever interacted with in my life. They are so trained. They have to go through a training course every 6 weeks. They have to go through a full training course every 6 weeks. They are so regulated. Like, it is insane. Taser also complaint compliant, so you can actually fight through the pain of a taser and ignore it. It depends, but the dangerous of the person. That's the thing. In the UK, again, most officers aren't equipped with tasers. Only a few are. And again, it requires very special training. It's kind of the job to be scary, though, no? Yeah, no, it is. It is. I find all police scary, because, especially armed police. But, like, the armed police, especially in the UK, there's a weird thing. I've been to the US, and I remember going through, like, JFK and seeing, like, you know, like, TSA agents with guns. And, like, this dude, I'm looking at him, I'm like, this fucking dude has been just handed it. I've been told, okay, don't shoot it at, like, random people, and that's it. And then when I see, like, when I walk around, I might walk around a major airport, or, like, a major sort of, I'll see the occasional armed police officer in the UK, like, at a major event. I saw it around Eurovision. The Eurovision fan village, there was a few armed police around, and they have assault rifles. Oh my fucking god. Like, you look at them and you're like, this guy has been through, like, a year of training to even hold the gun, and every month has to take a very long course to use it. And it is, like, armed police in the UK, I remember speaking to someone about this, right? If, at the Eurovision fan village, for example, there was armed police there, because it was, a potential terrorist target. If there's a Barney, if a Barney starts happening, right? Like, if a load of people start fighting, the armed police can't do anything. I know that sounds ridiculous. But the armed police, because it's dangerous for them to do anything, if they get involved, someone's likely to get injured or killed. So they're not allowed to do anything. They back off. It's dealt with by normal officers. The armed police are only allowed to deal with situations where they are the only ones who can deal with it. In Vote Wars, how come armed police even have automatic weapons? Surely, it's semi-automatic weapons. It's for accuracy purposes, and again, it is so specialized. They have a sidearm, also, to be clear, but, like, again, they are so limited, and they're so specialized, and they're so targeted, that if they're being used at all, it's a circumstance that might require it. Like, they are so fucking trained. They are so fucking trained, and they are so fucking precise. And they have to stay away from crowds because there's a worry that someone might potentially get the weapon. And if just people are fighting, they don't want to get involved. A, because someone can get the weapon. B, because even if someone is not at risk of getting their weapon, it is not. There is no circumstance in that context where deadly force is necessary at all. Right? If just a bunch of people are fighting and, like, physically, like, fist fighting, deadly force is obviously not necessary there at all. They are not allowed to get involved at all. At all. They have to. They back away. They literally leave. Yeah, they don't fire a shot into the air. That's dangerous. They leave. They back away. Normal officers deal with it. The armed police are only supposed to deal with things that are absolutely necessary for an armed police officer to deal with. I mean, I'm talking in the Liverpool context. It's different per police force, obviously. It's very similar over the country, but it's fairly thinged. Like, I'm not against the idea of armed police in totality, because there's obviously a few instances where that might be necessary, but, like, the way the UK do it, where it's so incredibly regulated, and it's so incredibly... And they have to go through a training course every 6 weeks, and they get suspended if they fire a shot, even if it doesn't hit anyone. Like, Christ, it's so strict. I've interacted with a few of them, and they're just so fucking strict, and they're so professional. And I'm like, oh my god, these dudes have been through so much fucking training. And they're specifically in existence to deal with, like... There's three things they deal with. They deal with, hey, does someone else have a gun? Right? And are they going to kill people with it? That's the first thing. B, is someone else going to kill a load of people with a car or a bomb? Then they're supposed to deal with that. 3, they're there as a deterrent. Like, they're there in very busy places where there's a potential terrorist target. Hello, we're here. They're very visible. They're like, hello, we are here. We're being very professional. That's what they're there for. They're there for literally nothing else. American police are like, oh my god, a guy is on the floor. Oh my god, a guy fucking used a forged $20 bill. We're going to draw a gun on him. Because that's American police, right? American police are like, oh my god, you deserve to die for the most minor offenses because America's a fucking horrible hellhole. Horrible country. Horrible, 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 horrible country. Horrible, inhuman, horrible country. I'm going to raise I want to ban guns. Horrible. I want to raise education first. I'm going to do that. I'm going to raise... look, we've got a big deficit anyway. Our debt's already 25 fucking billion... Our debt is 25 trillion and our deficit is 100 billion. What's another fucking 100 billion? Basically. Yeah, let's just increase school spending. Let's get education going. Get education going. Education's important. Let's have another moonshine. I've had the cherry and I had the berry. I want tough nut or sticky toffee. I want to save the cherry. I want to have like a mix. Like there's like two. There's sticky toffee or tough nut. Chat. Shout your opinions. Shout. Shout. It's a horrible chance. Yes. There's There's a classic thing with me and like everyone I know. They're like, "Oh God, when you're drunk, you just ran about America." I'm like, "I know." It's a bit of an in-joke with literally all of my friends and lots of people I've been on dates with, and all just like, "Oh my God." But again, it's who I am. I am me. I am the same person. I am me. I value who I am. What brand of moonshine? It is O'Donnell. O'Donnell moonshine. Kent the Transatlantic. I live in the US, in a city. I left the city. I hate gunshots in my neighborhood most nights. Literally, what the fuck? Right? Like, I saw a TikTok of someone being like, because apparently some artists who come from Europe, like they joke in America, they when they go to America, they say, "Hey, please don't bring guns to my show." And some Americans are like, "Oh, that's really insensitive to joke about that." And like this person was like, "No, they're not joking. Everyone else thinks it's insane, and are genuinely asking you not to because it's horrifying." I have heard a gunshot twice. Twice. 2 times. And to be clear, arguably Liverpool is probably the most gun crime ridden place in the UK. Because there's a lot of gang violence here. I mean, in Northern Ireland, there's some as well. But it's gang violence. Infamously, there was an incident. I mean, the argument was always, I'm not really at risk personally because the whole thing with, especially gun violence in Liverpool and gun violence in the UK, it's almost always gang on gang. Right? It's always, like, I'm not personally at risk by a gun. And like, a guy's not going to mug me with a gun, right? That's not a thing. It's just not a thing. You're not going to get a home invasion with a gun. That's not a thing. But there was an incident in Liverpool a while back where a gang basically hit a house. They barged into a house with guns to do like a targeted assassination, and they just shot up the house. And they shot up the people in the house, and there's a fucking load of kids in there. And they killed some kids. And it was a huge national outrage because some kid, like a kid had been shot. Now, to be clear, it was a huge national outrage for weeks that one single child had been killed by a gun. It's a daily occurrence in the US. Like, fucking school shootings in the US are a daily fucking occurrence. I've spoken to so many friends in the US who've been like, "Oh my God, I've got a kid, and I want to move to Europe because I'm terrified of putting them in school in the US because, you know, buying them a bulletproof backpack, them going through like gun drills in school is just insane." I'm like, "Oh my God, that's insane. That's insane. Greatest country in the world. Fuck them. I hate America." I've never heard of this. Yeah, it's big news in America. Was it Olivia? I think it was, right, was this one called Olivia? Olivia, Liverpool. Olivia Pratt-Corbell. Yes, that was it. I remember the name. Olivia Pratt-Corbell. August 22. 9-year-old girl. Dovecot. Some men burst in thinking there was the person they were targeting was in there, and they just shot up the house and they killed the kid. They killed this poor fucking 9-year-old girl. The mum stayed alive, which I imagine is horrible. But it's a huge story, right? Like one kid being shot should be a huge story because it's horrifying. Right, this was like national news. This is like a once in a year. You do not hear about kids being shot. This is like a once in a year fucking story, if that. Yeah, it dominated the news. It was a huge deal because a kid being shot is horrific and horrible, and everyone went, "Oh my God, that's horrible and insane." In the US, it's daily. It's insane. Fuck the US, man. Right, I've increased education. I've got 12 political capital left. I think I want to save some of it up. Are there some public services I want to? Other education might be good. CO2 campaign, food labeling. I want to get education going. A, it makes people like you, and B, it just helps. Social Justice Foundation, yes. Yes. We're going to do that. Spend all the money on the Social Justice Foundation. I'm grand with that. Desalination plants, we don't want that. Parenting classes. Oh, that'd be good. Public libraries. Oh, they would be good as well. Stamp out racism week. Week doesn't sound like enough. Youth club subsidies. That's just see, some stuff is just universally good. Like, youth club subsidies, everyone likes. No one dislikes that. No one dislikes this. It reduces crime, it reduces antisocial behavior. All socials like it, the youth like it, the parents like it. Everyone likes it. It's just good. Let's implement that. And better US news, SAG after a strike now. Oh yeah, God, yeah, during the Oppenheimer premiere. During the Oppenheimer premiere, the cast left. They walked out of the premiere because the SAG went on strike during the premiere. So they fucking walked out of the premiere, which is insane. To be clear now, the actors union are on strike and the writers union are on strike, which is effectively shut down Hollywood. And fucking Bob Iger came out and being like, well, this is ridiculous. Yeah, okay, Bob Iger. See how you fare without writers or actors. Fuck off. I'm going to do toffee for the moonshine. Well, Calamity, slight side, I got given a bottle of high proof Adol moonshine once, my 20th. 70% volume, I had like 4 shots of it, woke up in the bathtub. I mean, that's fair. What's this? It's only 25%. There's a weird thing. In the States, they use something called proof. Like, everywhere else, they will use like whatever percent alcohol content. In the States, they'll use proof. So this says, this is 25% volume, like alcohol content, and it's 50 proof. That's what the US uses. They use proof, because again, the US just do their own fucking thing, because the US are fucking... Sexual assault. Woman sexual assault in public transport is widely reported. Violent crime against women is abhorrent. The rape could be committed in public environment. Seating is a damning indictment of our society. The electorate demanding that lawlessness and gender inequality be addressed by the government. Absolutely. I've addressed prison inequality. Excellent. Crime is being reduced. Excellent. There's a Boris Johnson quote. I'm supporting David Cameron purely out of cynical self-interest. Boris Johnson. Now that's a good Boris Johnson quote to put in a video game. That's the most Boris Johnson quote I've ever fucking read. Woo! The Evangelical Alliance. This is the thing. Yeah, in the States, the threat assessment of the Evangelical Alliance, it's raising. Evangelicals don't like me. They're going to kill me. Oh, Boris Johnson said a lot of honest things. He just also said a lot of dishonest things. I think I've always said I think Boris Johnson's a lot better than Donald Trump, because Boris Johnson actually knows what he's fucking doing, which is a low fucking bar, right? It's like piss is better than shit. I'm like, okay, well, technically, right? Yeah, I want to keep education's going up. 17. I want adult education subsidies. I want to really focus on education. Really get education going. That's a good start, getting education going, because it just... Youth politics. We want to get as many people into politics as possible. We want to get as many people engaged with politics as possible. And we want to get as many people educated as humanly possible. Because it makes people... it just makes people more aware of what's going on in the world, which, especially in the United States, is important, because the United States are incredibly fucking undereducated. Oh my god. There's that classic joke in the US. I see so many videos on it, where they're like... People just, like, go onto the street with, like, a map of the world and, like, hey, where's Japan? And people, like, point to fucking Uruguay, and I'm like, what the fuck? America. So, education's very important. The toffee is quite nice. I like the toffee moonshine. It's something about, I don't know. I will say, right, a few years ago, my favourite ever birthday was a few years ago, and it was at CoxCon. It was because we were at CoxCon. It was the last CoxCon we did, actually. And it just happened that it interceded with my birthday. So on the Saturday of CoxCon, and CoxCon, the whole thing with CoxCon, Jesse CoxCon, COXCon, to be clear, it's always the joke I have to make, was that the creators at the event tend to not pay for drinks, right? For better or worse, they tend to not pay for drinks. Oh, thank you, Mariel. I have a question, Mariel. Why is EU in your name? I've never asked. Why? I mean, I like the EU as much as they are an overly bureaucratic nightmare in a lot of ways. Well, I'm curious. What's the reason? I'm curious. I've never asked. Yeah. No, I like the toffee. The toffee's a lot. I like the berry because it's unique. It doesn't taste as. Wait, I think the berry's less alcoholic. No, it's the cherry. All of these are 25%, aside from the cherry, which is only 20%. Oh, because I couldn't get Amariel on Twitter, I could get the domain .eu. Oh, wait, on fucking, wait. Amariel, are you on Blue Sky? Wait, Amariel on Blue Sky, are you just Amariel.eu? If you're not Amariel.eu and use Blue Sky, why aren't you? Is this CockCon in Telford? CockCon has always been in Telford. The last CockCon I went to, it happened to intercede with my birthday. And, normally creators don't tend to pay for drinks anyway. You, like, go there. Oh, you did skeet me today. God, why did I say skeet? Oh, fuck you! Fuck you, you skeeted me about the word skeet! I've just undermined my point entirely. Fuck it. You did, fine. I don't remember things. Shut up, Marielle. You whore. No, so yeah, CockCon, the creators tend to not pay for drinks. Everyone at CockCon, everyone goes to the Holiday Inn fucking bar afterwards and just gets pissed. And people tend to buy drinks for, like, Jesse and TB and blah, blah, blah. But on the Saturday, word got around that it was my birthday. So normally you don't pay for drinks, but on the Saturday, because it was my birthday, random people were just appearing next to me. They were just appearing and being like, here, Matt, happy birthday, and just handing me drinks. I got so drunk. I cannot express to you how drunk I was. Because people just kept giving me free drinks. I did not pay. No, I take it back. I paid for one single drink that night, and it wasn't for myself. I bought a drink for Jesse. Because I love Jesse. Jesse's wonderful. Oh my god. I always joke about it, and it sounds like such a fucking 2012 YouTube thing to say. Like, this is the most 2012 YouTube thing to say, right? Actually, I'm going to get ukulele out, right? Right. Right? Gonna get ukulele out, right? So, 2012 YouTube thing, right? Jesse gives the best hugs. Right? He does. I love Jesse's wonderful. I did learn the ukulele slide. I did learn the hey. Oh, the ukulele's that turn. Fucking the Colin. Where was it? I can't remember the entire thing. It was just C to fucking... F's in there. It was C to... like... Ah, fuck it. Point is... yeah, I love Jesse. It was the one drink I paid for. But everyone... Someone brought me... I can't remember her fucking name for the life of me. She brought me this drink. She was like, hey, my grandmother in Poland makes vodka. And I'm like, okay. She's like, I brought my grandmother's homemade cherry vodka. And I'm like, okay. And I was like stood outside in the smoking area. I don't smoke, but I was stood outside in the smoking area. Annoyingly, right? I don't smoke. I don't like smoking. A lot of cool people smoke. This is the dilemma of life. I hate smoking. I just abhor smoking. So I'm stood in the I'm stood there, and several times the night she's like, "Oh, I really want to have the cherry vodka." I'm stood there next to Sips and Tomska, right? I'm next to Sips and Tomska, who are obviously, compared to me, very famous. Tomska especially, right? Like I'm just sat there, very out of my league, right? And I know Sips and Tom. They know me. I like Sips and Tom. David Cameron quote. Yeah, I was the future once. David Cameron, excellent quote. Was this the final year? This was the final year, yeah. And she comes out and she's like, "Hey, I've got the cherry vodka now." And I'm like, "Cool." And she's like, "Matt, I want you to have it. You're my favorite here. I want you to try it first." I'm like, "Okay." And with Sips and Tomska, and so I get handed this bottle of unmarked cherry vodka, which classic fucking like YouTube thing, right? You don't take homemade unmarked things. You just don't. You don't ingest homemade unmarked things. They're going to be filled with heroin or some shit, right? But CockCon's whole thing was fine. And Look, I like risky business, right? Dad and Rebecca got given loads of fucking random, like, packaged snacks, and they were like, we're not drinking that. And I'm like, I'll fucking have them, and I ate all the packaged snacks. Classic Matt. Anyway, got this cherry vodka. I'm like, delicious. Drank it from the bottle. And then she's like, I want Tom to have it. And then Tom had the cherry vodka, drank it out of the bottle, and then so me, Sips, and Thomas were just like passing this bottle of unmarked homemade cherry vodka around and just swinging it from the bottle. And I'm sat there going, this is really strange. This is a really surreal experience. It wasn't red. It was clear. Of course it was clear. Why would it be red? It would be red if it was fucking coloured. Like 17-year-old. It did feel like I was a 17-year-old. It was a smoking area as well. I did feel like a 17-year-old at a park, but it was with Tomska and Sips at like a fucking YouTuber event, and I'm like, this is strange. Good moonshine. Silly story. Got quite drunk. We got the deficit, our credit ratings downgraded, classic America. Polls, not doing good, but they're no worse than they were. Economic forecasts are doing okay. The global economy is doing okay. Crime's down. GDP's down. That's fine. Poverty's not up. That's fine. Okay. Education's going up. That's fine. And that, yeah, I just kept getting given drinks. I'd just be, like, sat around. And the thing is, right, it used to be a thing at Cocktail that I spoke to a lot of people at Cocktail, like, oh, no, the people who had saved for the entire year for specifically that night at CoxCon. Because we're at the Holiday Inn bar, right, in Telford. It's a hotel bar. They are charging a lot for fucking drinks, right? And it is rammed. And they clearly know it's a big night. So, I'm being handed, like, just... And it's people I've never met and I don't know. So I'm like, stood around. Being like, doopa-doopa-doo, hanging out. Like, I hung around. Me and Rebecca were hanging out for a bit. But the thing with Rebecca is Rebecca's the biggest lightweight in the world. Rebecca has one drink and is fucking pissed for life. So Rebecca has their one little drink, sipping over like an hour, and then they go to bed because they're tired and fucking full of alcohol. And pissed. And I'm like, okay, and I stay up because I'm me, and I will just stay up for as long as humanly possible. Because I stayed up like 5, and it got to the point where like it got to like 5 a.m. and the only two creators who were there who were awake were me and Jesse. And me and Jesse just kind of sat there and going, why are we still awake? Jesse's like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Jesse. Just the whole night, I was just kind of stood there, and a random like person would just appear next to me, a person I had never met, and be like, "Hey, Matt, here's some vodka," and I'd be like, "Okay," and I'd be handed a shot of toffee vodka, and I'd be like, "Yep, great." Road Calamity, my friend works at that exact holiday, and they confirm they do profiteer on event like that. Obviously, they do. Obviously. COT campaign, plant-based diets. We want plant-based diets to go up because obviously I'm an SJW cook. We want education. Public libraries would be good. They cost a lot on the high end. I mean, I'm used to doing the UK in this game, so seeing something that costs like 10 billion is a lot, but obviously in the US, our income is almost 800 billion. Versus the UK is like 200, so obviously these things are going to just cost more. Road Calamity, I do worse with shots of toffee vodka than actual vodka. I mean, I was fine with shots. It was just random shit. I just kept being handed random shit, which is hilarious and fun. Because I'd been to Cocktail a bunch, but that night especially, just especially because it was my birthday. And it was very much, I was in this kind of Matt era of, like, confident Matt. I just kept being handed random shit. Kate Branson, what's your opinion on the right to die, Matt? I'm curious. No, this isn't holy shit topic chains, Marielle. This is classic Matt stream. This is Matt being drunk and talking about things stream. Classic thing. I believe in the right to die. I believe in full body autonomy, right? But to a point. I am fully about full body autonomy. I think everyone should have the right to do whatever the fuck they want to their body, even if that includes dying. Right? However, I'm gonna put as many things in place to discourage harmful things as possible. I'm gonna have as many things as possible to discourage and make difficult smoking. Right? So, and equally, I think people have the right to die, but I do want to discourage them as much as possible, and I do want to make it slightly awkward. Right? In this game, you can enable the I can't remember what it is. You can have it in this. And I always have it as like a doctor has to sort of like sign you off almost on it. It's a complicated issue. It's in health, I think. Health. There isn't a health. I can ban alcohol. Classic America. Force political, military, religious oath. Welfare? Might already be out on the board. I assumed Right to Die was a movie. Wasn't expecting drunk politics. It's me! Of course it's going to be drunk politics. It's classic Ireland. I'm going to have very cherry. What do I was going to say I was going to have very cherry, but very cherries. Tough Nut's my least favorite. The person who sent me these said Tough Nut was their favorite, and I like Tough Nut. I don't dislike Tough Nut as a, but it's very nutty. Like it's not. And when I read Tough Nut, I'm like, oh, it's going to be like almondy. I like almonds. I like hazelnuts. It's more peanutty. It more tastes like peanuts. It's got that kind of sharp, peanutty taste, which I don't hate, but I don't love. Like, I'm not a huge fan of peanuts. I like hazelnuts. I like almonds. I'm not a big peanut guy. Tough Nut was their favorite. It's fine. Like, I will say, they say it's fun to experiment with in cocktails. And granted, I've just drank all these straight. This could be really good in a cocktail. I think I'm drinking it straight. I think it could be good in a cocktail, like to complement something else. But I tend to just not like peanut tastes. Royal Calamity, I'm allergic to peanuts, so not a fan. I mean, fair enough. It's nice. It's called Tough Nut. It's like a caramelly. It tastes a bit like a caramel kind of peanut. That's kind of the best way. It's like an alcoholic caramel peanut in drink form. That's the best way I can describe it. Right, we want to. Yeah, we want to enact as many universally acceptable things. That's the thing. Oh, I want to do that. Climate Change Adaptation Fund, but that's really expensive at the high end. Yeah, we want to enact as many universal, like conservatives don't hate the CO2 campaign, for example. It's stuff like that I want to enact. I need to enact education and stuff that's going to help, and then I can enact really progressive policies later on, right? This is the kind of way I'm doing it. State voting campaign. I want voter turnout to be better. For the internet voting. Limit corporate donors. That's something I want to do. Flags on every street corner. Classic America. State voting campaign. We want to implement that. I want voter turnout to be better. Voting's important. Stamp out racism week. We want to just enact stuff that's just great. Help social policy. Healthy. Just these little simple things. Right? These little simple things which are going to just help tourism. I don't feel like people want to visit America, I'm going to be honest. So see this, yeah. I like this. I like democracy for this a bit more. So telecommuting initiative. It's not that commuters don't like this. It's that it literally reduces the amount of commuters there are. That's all this means. It reduces the amount of commuters, because obviously if less people are commuting, there's going to be less commuters. That's what that means, which I like a lot. Cycling campaign is just a cheap, easy thing. Carpooling campaign is cheap, easy thing. Bike subsidies. That's good. City farms, business startup campaign. Smart meters. Oh, smart meters could be good. Trade council, that could be useful. Something like a business startup campaign could be good in the short term. The socialists don't like it, but in the short term it could be good. Tourism, again, I don't want. Rent controls, that's something I want to do. Well, actually, that doesn't cost very much. Capitalists don't like it. See, this is the thing. I need to balance here, because if we have term limits in the States, so well, you got to remember. In the UK, I didn't have a term limit. I could just keep going. In the States, I do have a term limit. So I need to get as much done in as short time as possible. So if I enact stuff that is going to not get me re-elected, is going to fuck with me. If I really, really put people off in the short term, it's going to make it worse in the long term. So I need to do stuff that's better. I need to do stuff that is friendlier. Like, this is the balance. Healthy eating campaign and health food subsidies. Let's do a healthy eating. Let's do health food subsidies. It's a bit more expensive, but I think it'd be better. We just want to increase sort of like social cohesion. Thank you, government. Right. Distillery closes. Sign of noticeable reduction in alcohol consumption by our citizens. I had this talk with someone the other day. They were like, "What's your opinion on alcohol?" And I'm like, "Dude, I drink." I used to be teetotal. I think I spoke about this in the stream. I used to be teetotal. Basically. Straight edge. I'm not. I'm just very, very supportive of stuff in moderation. In any context. Whether it be weed or whether it be fucking alcohol or whatever the fuck. So I don't know if a business closing that people like is bad. Is good. 33%. Our approval rating is... about where it was when I started. The poor like us. The capitalists really don't. The capitalists have gone down, but everyone else seems to like us. The only people who put down is capitalists. State employees really like us. Retired are going a bit down. That's fine. By the way, right, I keep talking about this game. I really love this game because it's a very me and John game. Because it is a game of just lots of... Look how many graphs there are. Look at all these graphs. How is there this many graphs? Look at all the graphs. Look at all these different graphs, right? Like, I'm here currently, apparently. I'm a conservative capitalist because that's the default position for America. I like the game. Look how many graphs there are. I'm a big fan of Democracy, and Democracy 4 is just better than Democracy. It's just more fully featured than Democracy 3. There's no reason to play Democracy 3 over Democracy 4. I'm gonna buy the DLC for Democracy 4 that gives me like other countries. Like you can get Island Democracy 4 and stuff as a DLC. I need to save up some political capital to put some big sort of things in. But I want to get that education going early on. Like compulsory foreign language. Patriots don't like it, but it reduces racial tension and everyone else likes it. And it isn't very much. That would be really good, but it's really fucking expensive. I don't think... Like, I want to max that out. I don't have to max it out, but I want to max it out. I know, we can't really afford that. Stuff like organizations good, but I just don't like it. Public libraries is just a good thing. Actually, maybe we should put public libraries into it. More public libraries. University. Oh, university grants. Oh, people. No one dislikes that. You'd think the Conservatives would dislike that. They hate people getting money for things. John's the type of person to ask if you can support the graphs in this game as a CSV. I mean, yeah. I like a graph. But I like this game as well because the way it does the graphs, it isn't... Like, look, I'm not John, right? I'm not sat here being like, God, I'm going to wank over Excel in my spare time, right? Like, I'm not orgasming to Excel. I'm not like, oh, fuck, that's Synapse. Synapse? I don't know. Look, in school, when we did the Excel bit, I wasn't doing it. In my school, when we were doing our GCSEs, everyone in the class was doing, like, Excel, mainly Excel. When we were doing our GCSEs, basically with the GCSE we were doing, you could choose different modules and they were each worth a certain amount of points. And that would count to one. You needed 60 points for a GCSE, right? The Excel like module was 60 points, which was one GCSE's worth. We got 2 GCSEs from ICT. But I didn't want to do Excel. I wanted to do, unsurprisingly for me, video editing and audio editing. And the school didn't have the facilities to do that, but I had a MacBook. So I'd saved for like 5 years to buy a MacBook. And so I had the software to do it. And I said to my school, hey, can I just do this? Can I just sit at the back of the class and just do this on my own? Like, you don't need to teach me. I will do it myself. And they went, all right. So I went, okay. So I sat at the back of the class for a year and a fucking half doing video editing and fucking audio editing in like fucking Final Cut and fucking Logic Pro. And I was not learning Excel with the entire rest of the class. And then about 3 months, I want to say 2 months before we were supposed to hand in our coursework, the school turns around to us and go, hey, turns out we're actually with a different exam board and they have a completely different curriculum. So we need to redo all your coursework. And everyone else was like, oh, we just redo all the Excel coursework, but slightly different format now. And they were like, okay. And I looked at it and went, oh, they don't have a video editing or audio editing curriculum at all for this exam board. And I'm like, oh, what do I do? And they're like, you have to learn everything everyone else learned over the past 2 years, but in a week. And I'm like, no. And I didn't. It's why I barely got a C in ICT. Because I literally had to learn everything in about a month and a half. I learned, my entire ICT GCSE was done in a month and a half. The whole thing, from start to finish, in a month and a half. Everything I learned and all the course I did was in a month and a half. Ludicrous! And the fact that I even passed was impressive, frankly. A right to privacy would be good. Phone and internet voting. I chose what ifs on the DLC. Voting system DLC is good. I'm a fan of that. That's impressive. I don't think it's impressive because I didn't learn enough. I didn't learn it. I did the coursework, if that makes sense. It's why I don't like formal education, because you can kind of game it. Like, I don't know anything about Excel, really. At all. Like, I gamed it. I didn't cheat, but, like, I gamed it, right? Like, I did the thing, very specific thing I needed to do. I didn't learn the thing. And the thing is, because the rest of my class had already learned it, the class weren't teaching me, so I was just basically having to do the coursework. I was just doing the coursework. ICT, GCSE was entirely coursework-based. There was no exam. It was just coursework. And because I was just doing the coursework, I was able to just kind of game the coursework. So I didn't really know what I was doing, but I did do it. Yeah, my score was a whole thing. My score was bullshit. I got a U in English literature. But I got a U in English literature because I missed an exam. And I missed an exam because I was severely ill. And I got a doctor's note saying I was severely ill that my school was supposed to send to the exam board. And they're supposed to give you a predicted grade. My school forgot to send it. So they were like, oh, you didn't turn up for the exam. You. And I'm like, what the fuck? And you know what that meant? That meant because I got a U, it lowered my entire grade point average. Because I got A stars in all the sciences. I got an A star in biology. I got an A plus for the Americans. I got an A star in biology, an A star in chemistry, and an A star in physics, right? Because I'm a science boy, right? Unsurprisingly, the two things I was really good at were science and art. What a surprise. Well, there was nothing you could do. No, it's too late. So then when I was trying to go to college, well, sixth form, which is like the last 2 years of high school for the Americans, the college I applied to, I wanted to do the sciences because I wanted to be an astrobiologist. And I was like, I would like to do all the sciences, please. I would like to do chemistry, biology, and physics. And as my fourth subject, I want to do fucking philosophy because I'm more like that. And they were like, okay, your grade point average is not high enough to do the sciences. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, your grade point average has to be this number to be eligible to do any of the sciences in our college. And I'm like, right, but I got A stars in all the sciences. And I'm like, yeah, but the U you got in English literature lowered your grade point average just below the threshold that you need to do the sciences. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? And I'm like, dude, I'm really good at the sciences. I got A stars in all the sciences. And they're like, yeah, but your English literature U grade that you got because the school didn't hand in your sick note has lowered your grade point average enough that you can't do the sciences in college. And I'm like, what? Can't you take test results? Can't you take resits at all in final grades? I could have reset the exam a year later, but A, I shouldn't have had to, and B, that's a whole thing. it was all ridiculous, and it's why there's obviously there's the whole joke of the podcast that I'm the most uneducated man in Britain because I didn't do my sixth form. I went to college for about 6 weeks and I dropped out. That's why I was so disenfranchised by that point with the UK education system because I had been fucked for 2 years straight. I had tried really hard on all my education and I got completely fucked. Formally, education-wise, I got completely fucked. I got fucked by my ICT. I got fucked by the fucking school I was in. I got fucked by my sick note. I got fucked because they wouldn't let me do sciences in college. And I went, fuck this, I'm out. And I fucking quit because I'm like, no, fuck, this is bullshit. And I fucking quit formal education because I thought it was bullshit, and now I'm doing this. My lack of formal education is not an indictment of my intelligence. It is just purely my attitude towards formal education in the United Kingdom. And just generally speaking, I think formal education is a little bullshit generally. Because a lot of people in the UK, but all over the world, I'll say all over the world. A lot of people in the UK and more economically developed countries, a lot of people just kind of go to university and just take a subject and then come out of university and go, I didn't really care about that subject. And then they just get a job in something else completely unrelated and then end up with loads of student debt. And I'm like, wow, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous system that you've kind of not forced someone, but like societally pushed someone into doing a thing that they don't really want to do, that they don't really know because they don't really know what they want to do, and spending a lot of money on a thing they don't really know if they want to do, and then not using it, but then not being in massive debt for it. That feels unethical. I didn't engage with that. So, Road Calamity, I have an interesting story that's somewhat related. I didn't get the A-level grades I needed to get into the uni course I wanted, so I ended up going for a different course with a foundation year, and then a week in. I contacted the department in the university and got my course changed to the one I wanted in the first place. Ridiculous. Formal education, I think it's bullshit. I also realised one of the reasons I dropped out is I kind of went, the career I want to be in is not in formal education. The two careers I wanted to be in that were formally education related, where I wanted to be an astrobiologist. I've said that a lot. Which obviously I needed the sciences to do that. I needed to go to university to do that. That got fucked, and literally to do that, I would have to go through so much fucking rigmarole. Because I'm sat there going, they wouldn't let me do the sciences, even though I had A stars in all the sciences at GCSE. Like, I was excellent at all the sciences. That wasn't the issue. I couldn't do the sciences because my grade point, I just had to do something completely unfucking related. I had to retake an entire GCSE in something completely unfucking related to do the sciences. And I'm like, fuck that. First of all. Second of all, the other thing I wanted to be when I was growing up was a pilot. Which when I looked into it was like, oh my god, that's so expensive. I don't have the money. My family don't have the money to do that. Fuck that. So I didn't. And the third thing I wanted to do was film directing, which I'm not doing, admittedly. But I'm in a creative video editing field, which is kind of sort of related. So here I am. Kate Branson, I can be in education for free until 25. Well, this is something I realised after the fact. I could have actually gone to university for free in Scotland. I didn't realise at the time. Because one of my big things for not engaging with sixth form is that I knew, like, the only point of me doing sixth form was to get into university. I was like, I don't really want to go to university to do something I don't... Because in sixth form, I was like, well, they won't let me take the sciences. So then I can't go to university for the sciences, which is the entire thing I would want to go to university for, is to be a scientist. So what's the fucking point? But even then, I'm sort of like, well, I definitely don't want to go if I have to pay for something I don't want to do. But because I'm an Irish citizen and an Irish national, you can go for university for free in Scotland if you're an EU national. You can't go if you're from England or Wales or Northern Ireland. But you can if you're an EU national, which I didn't know. Because it was in like a little gap, because I'm in England, so obviously no one's going to tell you, because everyone else couldn't do it. So why would they mention it? But I could, and I only realised after the fact. I'm like, for fuck's... If I knew that, I might have put myself in a different situation. If I knew I could go to uni for free, I might have pushed a little harder. I don't know if I would have still, because I got fucked, but point stands. Road Calamity, I didn't pass my current year in university due to having a crap year. I wanted to retake the year opposed to doing research in the summer. Found out last week I didn't get a choice in withdrawing from the results, so I have to do the summer research and pay £500 for privilege. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I think our education system's ridiculous and unfair. I mean, university grants. There you go. Let's enact that. I want as much education as possible. I don't care how much I'm paying. Let's keep some of my political capital because I want to make some other changes later on. Polls. I mean, the polls are up. I'm up in the polls. I'm slowly going up in the polls. That's good. Disposable income. Yeah. Right. Big fan of the game again, because the game is like, hello, here's a focus group. Because this is showing you disposable income of like people in each group, but it's people. Each of these dots is a person. This is a person called Kimberly Price. They have 35,000. Their entire original income is $59,328. Their disposable income is $35,192. They're religious, mostly. They're middle income, and it shows everything that affects their opinion. They're a farmer, so they appreciate agricultural subsidies. Like, you can just see all of these very specific people and what they're thinking about what you're doing. This person's a state employee. They're called Rachel Barker. Her original income was $128,000. Their disposable income was $94,000 a month. That's a lot. They're religious, mostly. Middle income. Robert Diaz. So that's, but you can see how poor. Disposable income. Fucking no. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, I was going to say, how is their disposable income 15 grand where their original income is 700? It's because they get a lot of subsidies. Their child benefit is 16 grand. Food stamps 9 grand. Unemployment benefit 3 grand. They spend 10 grand in income tax. They spend money in private schools, private healthcare, obviously, it's the America. Private housing, obviously, that's how money works. They're a state employee. And they're being underpaid. Ludicrous. Real calamity. What's weird about UK universities particularly is the fact that the vice-chancellor is in charge of the charge and the chancellor and some other roles are just on UK. A lot of the UK institutions are kind of based on fucking vibes, for lack of a better term. A lot of UK law and a lot of UK politics and a lot of UK just institutions generally are based on literally just vibes. Like, they're just based on, like, historically it's been that way and we're kind of continuing that trend, and I'm like, what? That's not okay. Obesity's going down. That's good. What's affecting obesity? Free school meals are helping. Car usage is contributing massively to it, unsurprisingly. Free school meals. Let's increase that. Vote is like that. It's expensive, but again, our fucking deficit's huge anyway. Who gives a fuck? The classic American politics, right? The deficit's fucking huge anyway. Who cares? Very American. They'll just print more money. They control the global economy. Who cares? Peak America. I'd like to lower the voting age. What's the voting age? State broadcaster, science funding. Oh, we'd like that higher. That's very expensive, though. I want to increase funding, but increasing funding by like 50 billion is a lot. Free school meals, I'd like to increase that. Use politics council. Getting young people engaged in politics is really important. That helps a lot. Technology colleges, we can increase that. That'd be good. So what to ban tobacco? Oh, UK institutions are superseding ceremony. It's hugely problematic. I mean, as I'm sure John will tell you, obviously John went to fucking Oxford, right? Like, this is one of the reasons I sort of disengaged with education, because obviously at this point in time, me, John, and Daniel are in the same fucking field, right? John has an Oxford degree, like a 2-1 for fucking Oxford. Daniel went to university and dropped out, and I didn't even bother going to sixth form. We all are in the same fucking field anyway, so what the fuck was the point? Like, I'm a fan of, like, learning something for the sake of learning it. Like, I don't disagree with the idea. Like, people are like, oh, you only learn classics. Like, classics and philosophy are just kind of seen as a sort of, like, wasted degree. I'm fully fucking supportive of a wasted degree. I'm a big fan of philosophy. I'm a fan of learning shit just for the sake of learning shit, even if the only point of it is to teach other people, because I think it's valuable. But that's obviously not the point, right? Like, it's... selective schooling. Abortion. We want abortion. Secular education. We want that. Science. Where is... How do I lower the voting age? Yeah, I can see what's popular! Oh, I can sort my popularity! Oh, that's useful. Rent controls are popular, the capitalists don't like it. Border Navy, we're not doing that. Eco-home regulations. That would be good to do. Junk food tax. Compulsory food labeling. People like that. It reduces GDP, though. Capitalists don't like it. State funding of parties. It increases democracy, but people don't like it. That's interesting. It levels the playing field. That's an interesting point. Congestion charge. State airline. Fuel efficiency standards. I want to lower the voting age. Where's the voting age? Can I search? Voting. Minimum voting age. There it is. 18. Let's lower the voting age. We don't want to lower the voting age to 13. That'd be silly. I'm quite supportive of lowering the voting age to 16. I'm not really in support of lowering it further. But I think lowering the voting age to 16 is fair. Because it's 16 is the age where you start having... Not only do you start having an impact, but also when you're 16, anything that's being voted for when you're 16 will apply when you're 18. Right? Even if not something as long-standing as Brexit, but like even in the States where you've got term limits of 4 years, or in the UK where you've got term limits, well, not term limits, but you effectively have about 5-year term limit in the UK, it is impacting you as an adult, so you have a right to vote for it, I think. Now, arguably, you could say, well, if it's 5 years, then you should be able to vote for it when you're 14. I'm like, I don't trust a 14-year-old with a key. Royal Calamity, Matt Chat, what are your ideal pizza toppings? Margarita, fuck everything else. A pizza with more shit on is wrong. I hate it. I think a pizza should be simple and thin. I want a wood-fired fucking super... I want a fucking paper thin. Paper thin. Margarita. Nice and thin. Paper thin. Sourdough. Paper thin. Cheese. Very good tomato. That's all I want. Simple. High-end sick. You can also start having to pay tax at 16. I agree. Yeah, 16, I think... When everything else when a lot of stuff in our society starts impacting people at 16, you should be able to vote at 16. If everything else in our society only started impacting people when they were 18, there'd be a different argument there, but it doesn't. So I think lowering the voting age to 16 is an important thing. So I'm going to lower the voting age. Corporate medical marketing. For many years, certain pharma companies have been giving money and other factors to doctors who prescribe their drugs, even though sometimes these drugs were not needed or the ideal choice. This has increased in recent months, and while no physical harm has been done so far, it is only a question of time that something bad happens. To be clear, this exact thing does happen in the United States. It's a huge problem. I can take no action, or I can introduce regulations. Of course we're going to introduce regulations, because fuck America. Capitalists don't like it, and the private healthcare industry don't like it. Of course they don't. Fuck them. Fuck it, man. Kate Branson, what can you do at 16 in the UK? All I know is sex and taxes. Sex is a big thing. Taxes are a big thing. I mean, taxes are a huge thing, I would argue. I would argue if you can pay taxes, you should be able to vote on what is being done with those taxes. At 16, you can drink in some circumstances. You can live on your own in some circumstances. You have a lot more choice in what you can do at 16. And again, at 16... the things you're voting for will apply for most of your adult life. Like, most term limits here are about 4 or 5 years. So if you're 16, if you're over the age of 16, anything you vote for at that age will apply for most of your adult life. If something's 5 years, it's going to apply for till you're 20 fucking 1, right? And you should have a right to vote for it. I think. And the fact is, 16-year-olds are just as fucking 16-year-olds are educated enough compared to the rest of the populace, right? Like, you can argue a 16-year-old might not be fully educated or might not be fully cognizant, whatever, but, like, compared to the rest of the population, I would argue they are. Video games. Video games. I have no idea why the government does this. Incurable position. The government still opposes right to die. I'll fix that. Right to die. Let's do that. Religious don't like it. I don't want at will. I don't think that's safe. Family agreement, I think that's rife for abuse. I think in a context like this, you need an outside independent source to be able to sort of like... that can still cause issues, because a doctor can just be like, no, even if it's completely valid. However, I think it's safer than... I think that's the most safe potential thing to do. Single doctor's agreement. Yes, we're going to have the right to die. The religious don't like it. The conservatives don't like it. But... Oh my god, there's a Viktor Orban quote. The best migrant is the migrant who does not come. Thanks, Viktor Orban. Fucking Orban. Fuck Orban. Fuck me. I'll be honest, right? Like, I like how this game does just include quotes from, like, anyone, right? It doesn't include quotes from right-wing or left. It just includes quotes from, like, lots of random people. And, like, you'll occasionally see, like, a Jeremy Corbyn quote, or a Boris Johnson quote, or a David Cameron quote, or, like, a Theresa May quote, right? But then you'll just occasionally see, like, a fucking Orb. Like, fuck me. Oh, my God. Fucking Orban. You can have multiple doctor's agreement. That's a good point. I might... Yeah, that's the thing. 16-year-olds are more educated, but not mature enough, you say. The thing is... I agree with you, but at the same time, I'd agree a lot of adults aren't mature enough either. That's the problem with the line. Because I agree the line isn't good enough there, but the fact is, frankly, most adults I've ever spoken to are no more mature than a 16-year-old. Is the thing. Like, the bar is already low, and I'm like, well... Fucking Orban, man. Fucking... That's the thing. Yeah, some 18-year-olds can barely look after themselves. So can some 40-year-olds. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you focus on a specific group and you go, oh, well, they can't do that. And I'm like, fair enough. But the fact is, that applies to a lot of society. At 16, I think, you are close enough to the rest of society in that context to be able to... And politically speaking, 16-year-olds are... As long as 16-year-olds are probably educated in politics, and in this context... I am. Like, in this context, I'm increasing political education. I'm increasing education heavily. And I think that helps a lot. Because if you just let 16-year-olds vote without any extra sort of thing, that's a point. But if you're increasing education heavily, you're increasing political education heavily, you're increasing political engagement heavily, it changes the context. There's not any solution. No, there never is. But obviously, any policy like that has to be in conjunction with other policies. I'm going to have my last moonshine, my very cherry, which is like, is the least alcoholic, and it's very artificially cherry flavored. Like, it's very much like a cherry, sort of like sweet. It's very sweet. I think that's why I like the berry one, because all of these moonshines are really sweet, right? I'm not a huge fan of a really sweet drink. And these are all really sweet. But the wild berry, while being sweet, is not overly sweet. It's got a tartness from the fact it's berry-y. Whereas the cherry is like that very overly sweet kind of cherry. Like that kind of cherry, chewy sweet. Like, I like it. I think this cherry could be really nice in a cocktail. But it is that very sort of fake cherry. Which, again, I think is appealing. I had a banana. Old-fashioned earlier. And it was called a banana bread old-fashioned. It was this really sweet, sort of that very artificial, very sweet banana. That very, that classic old-style banana that doesn't exist anymore that I desperately want to try and I haven't been able to. What are they called? Something cross banana, whatever. That sort of taste. It was very sweet, but it was very nice. I can appreciate that false sort of taste. There's a lemon drizzle one that's interesting. I would have, the friend who sent me this mentioned that they didn't do taster sets for everything they do. And they said they would have preferred this, because it came with 8 little bottles. But it was just 4 flavors and 2 bottles of each. And I would have preferred 8 different flavors. But the fact is, I know I like them. I know that the 4 I've tried, I actually liked all of them. Like, I mean, I didn't dislike any of them. I mean, the Tough Nut was probably my least favorite, but I liked all of them. And moonshine's not something I ever really drink, so it was interesting to try. Right. How long's... I've got... I'm not even halfway through my term limit yet. I still want to deal with the deficit in some way, but that's, I think, a later problem. I still need to improve sort of, like, education. Education is the entire thing I'm really, 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 really focusing on right now. Yeah, education. Healthy eating campaign. Cyberbullying awareness. Really help the kids. Really help the fucking parents. School sports. The youth don't like it, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah. healthy eating campaign. We're going to just like really put money into these sort of things to just improve public services. Keep the country tiny campaign, small things, small little things, which can do a lot of these little popular things. Voting as a whole is a flawed system. I mean, yeah, everything's flawed, right? There's this whole argument that the more democracy you have, the messier politics gets, right? Because the classic argument is that a dictatorship is the most effective politics in a technical sense, right? It's the most easy. Whereas, and then the more democratic you get, the more difficult politics is. I mean, people's argument against proportional representation, sort of the single transferable vote, like Ireland, is they point at Ireland, they go, hey, every time there's an election in Ireland, it takes months for a government to be formed because they have to form a coalition, right? Because of the fact that there's like 70 billion different fucking parties, and it's really representative. It just means there's no consensus, and then it just takes ages for even a vague consensus to form, and it's really messy, and then any policies take ages to enact because of that. And that's true. The more democracy you have, the slower things become, and the more convoluted things become, and that's the balance you have to do. But I think I'm always of the opinion that even if it's slow and more bureaucratic, I think it is better to be more democratic. I think the Irish system is the kind of happy medium. Unfortunately, politics, for lack of a for better or worse, is a exercising compromise, right? It's an exercise in compromise, as much as a lot of people wouldn't like to admit it is. Because one of the things around the Brexit vote, when I was campaigning for obviously remaining in the EU, one of my big things at that point, and one of the big things I was really trying to push, was even if we remain in the EU, the fact that a huge proportion of the country want to leave the EU is a problem that has to be addressed in some way. Like, because I knew for a fact that if we remained in the EU, everyone I knew and all these sort of people who were like pro-EU and Remainers would be very much like, yeah, fuck you, leavers, we're remaining, and wouldn't address any of their concerns. And I'm like, no, you have to address their concerns. And equally, it's why I don't like us leaving. I don't like the fact that almost barely half the country can just make... politics is a compromise. For better or worse. Like, you can't just take a fucking vote and 51% of people decide for everyone else. If 51% of people vote for something, you have to basically... you should compromise on it. You have to go, okay, well, only half the people want... barely over half the people want this thing. So we have to find a solution that is... acknowledging of that group of people who want this thing, but also acknowledging the fact that also almost a huge amount of people don't want that thing. If you have a huge consensus in something, it's different, but when you're dealing with something like that, you have to compromise, and as much as compromise is annoying, it is something you have to do, and a lot of it comes from, the Brexit vote, a lot of it came from miseducation. It came from a lot of campaign fucking... There's a huge amount of misinformation. There was a huge amount of miseducation. It was a huge amount of just... It exposed failures at several levels of the UK's sort of political system. Both in education, in sort of like just social acceptance, in fucking just political literacy. It exposed all of these things. And that's, you need to deal with those systemic issues. You can't just... You need to deal with those... Everything is basically, the classic ACAB line, right? The base, ACAB line, which as much as I will criticize the concept of ACAB, I understand the point of it, right? Because the whole point of ACAB is instead of funding police, we should fund social services, because funding these things at a core systemic level, at the point where these issues start, is a better solution than these sort of like plastered solutions later on, right? It is better to, in America, a country where they give loads of money to police, who subsequently will harass, kill, and arrest mainly impoverished people who are doing stuff either because of miseducation or in poverty or a lack of support or a lack of education or a lack of fucking healthcare, right? Is the common things for all of these things. A lack of social care, a lack of mental health care, right? All of these things. And America just throw more money at the police to basically just harass these people rather than go, oh, throw more money at the things that would actually help these stop happening in the first place. The whole idea of ACAB is the idea of solving those systemic issues in the first place, which I appreciate and understand. And that's politics, right? You need to resolve these things. A lot of it's education. It's why I'm currently putting all my money into education. That's a big thing. You need to if people are really well educated. There's the classic thing with liberalism, right? In that, generally speaking, the more educated someone is, the more liberal they're likely to be. The more left-wing they're likely to be. Notably. And this isn't me just being like, oh, we need to make everyone left-wing. But if you educate people and everyone's like, oh, other people exist, and they become more open to other things. I finished all my moonshine. I'm going to drink my orange juice. I had 8 milliliters of moonshine, along with 3 beers and my 5 cocktails. Birthday orange juice. When I get McDonald's, right, I always get a medium meal. I get myself a veggie wrap or a veggie sort of like Goujon burger. I get myself a medium fries because as much as I'm like, oh, the fries are unhealthy, I'm like, if I'm going to McDonald's, it's unhealthy. I want potato fries. Chips. No McPlant. I like the McPlant, but I never default to the McPlant. I like something that tastes like vegetables. I like vegetables. I like vegetables. I like the taste of vegetables. Vegetables. And then I get an orange juice. I like juice and I like vegetables. That's me. The plant's good, but as I said earlier, McPlant's a vegan. It's a fake beef burger. It's like a Beyond Burger. It's trying to be beef. It's replicating beef as close as it can. I've never eaten beef in my entire life. I only tried a Beyond Burger like maybe 5 years ago down at Rebecca's when they made me one. And I went, oh, that's weird. And I mean, it was nice. I ate it. I went, oh, this is nice. Well, I have no basis of comparison. I've never eaten a beef burger. I've never desired a beef burger. There's the odd time where I fancy something quite umami and kind of dense. But for the most part, when I want something, I don't want something very dense and umami. I want something quite light and vegetal, which is what I get from the veggie goujons that McDonald's sell. Key Branson, what is liberal? Don't question, I know, but literally nothing politics. So liberal would be left wing, but there's kind of 2 schools of thought to left wing. I mean, there's the where's the graph? Where's the graph? There's a graph. Here. So the argument is a graph, right? There's conservative at the top, liberal at the bottom, capitalist on the right, socialist on the left. You could be anywhere on this graph. The idea is socialist and capitalists are kind of economic systems, right? A socialist system would be, kind of very state-owned, state-funded, state-ran, right? Whereas capitalists would be very independent. Capitalists, classic America versus Soviet Union, right? But liberal and conservative are on the sort of other end. Conservative would be the idea of conservative values, right? Is the idea of you can be a conservative social. I mean, you can see here, right? Joseph Stalin was a conservative socialist, a very conservative socialist, right? It was a staunch socialist, but was very conservative in their values. Liberal would be liberal values. Liberal values would be the idea of like equal rights and freedom of expression and stuff like that. But you can support freedom of expression and equal rights while being completely socialist, completely capitalist simultaneously, right? Like this is why it's on a big graph here. And you say it's 16 on paper. All of these things are representing people, Right? You know how I mentioned this graph here is like a load of random people? This is showing a load of random people. If I remove the voters, you can see where I am. You start out here. Because it's America, you start out here. But you can see lots of other people in this graph, right? You can see Joseph Stalin's up here, Lenin's over here, Saddam Hussein's here, Mugabe's here, fucking Donald Trump's fucking over here, a very conservative capitalist, Reagan's here, just a bit below, Putin's here. Notably, Donald Trump is more capitalist, more conservative than Putin, interestingly. Thatcher, capitalist, not very conservative, but very capitalist. George W. Bush, Barack Obama, very centrist. Tony Blair, a bit more socialist, but quite conservative. There's David Cameron, not far to the right of Tony Blair, notably. There's Merkel, not far to the right of Cameron. Bill Clinton, a lot more liberal than Obama, but more capitalist simultaneously. There's Ayn Rand, very liberal, but very capitalist. Bernie Sanders over here in the socialist liberal bit. Jeremy Corbyn, more socialist, more liberal. Socialist and capitalist would be economic policies. Liberal and conservative would be it is the simplest way I would describe it. It's obviously a lot more complicated than that, but that is a simple. You can be somewhere on the craft. When I was doing the UK, I was here. I was down here. Very liberal. Wasn't there a flip ages ago on what each meant, or I think it's something else? You are probably thinking of the American political system, because the American Democratic Party used to be very right-wing, and the American Republican Party used to be left-wing. And they flipped, because the Republican Party used to be the party of, the Republican Party was the party of Abraham Lincoln. The Republican Party used to be the party of anti-slavery, whereas the Democratic Party used to be the party of pro-slavery, and they kind of flipped at one point. But that was just the party flipping. That wasn't the sort of political ideas flipping. Matt talks about politics. Matt. Classic Matt. Education. Expenditures $1 trillion to fucking turn. It was basically already $1 trillion a turn. Who gives a fuck? They can ban coal. You make politics interesting, Matt. I hope so, slightly. I talk about it a lot because I think it's really, really, really important. And I like to talk about a certain level of nuance in politics. Because a lot of nuance in politics, I think so many people are very sort of like splatter shot with politics. Which I understand why. But the reality of politics is it is nuanced and it is complicated. And it is actually enacting political change is more complicated and nuanced than people would have you believe. And that is not me being like, well, it's the reality of the situation. Because for better or worse, half the fucking population disagree with us. Right? It doesn't matter how liberal I want to be, half the fucking population will, over half the population want to leave the EU. Even they were misled, yes, but the point stands, right? You're competing in that system. You are not only are you fighting for values, but you're also trying to manipulate a system. And it's important to be able to understand both, and understand how politics works, and understand how so yeah, it's a lot of sociology. I really like sociology, and it's a lot of philosophy. Sociology is really important for politics. A lot of people don't conflate the two. A lot of people who go into politics try and go for the sort of foreign affairs sort of stuff, and for economics, which are important. Sociology is a really important part of politics, which a lot of people ignore. And I'd argue it is one of the most important parts of politics, sociology. And it's why I like this game quite a lot, because it actually... all of these things, it kind of just show the intricacies of it. There was an app, I think it's still in the App Store, about trying to make a socialist sort of utopia. And it's a lot of yes or no questions. And it's basically... It's you trying to do it without being killed. And I couldn't do it without being killed. And this is the whole joke I have with the States, because I've not been able to do this for the United States without being killed, which is ridiculous. But obviously you're working within that system, right? It doesn't matter how much you want something. If everyone's going to push back on you on it, it doesn't matter how much you fucking want it. You can't force it on people, right? You have to make people want the thing. You have to make people realize why the thing is good. You can't just force it on people. That's why I'm increasing education. That's why I like this game, because it sort of exposes those nuances and those sort of difficulties. It's politics is interesting. I understand why a lot of people don't like engaging with politics, because it's really fucking messy, and politics is a lot of sort of personality politics. It's a lot of fucking sound bites. It's a lot of fucking like tabloid bullshit. But it's really important because it's the foundation of our entire modern society, right? I understand why so many people don't want to engage with it because it's exhausting, but it is the foundation of literally everyone's life. Like, it's arguably the most important thing in the world. And I think people should be a lot more engaged and a lot more educated on it. And again, education is the most important thing. It's why, again, in this game, I'm really putting up education as the first thing I'm doing. Because an educated populace is a well-versed populace who can make better informed decisions on anything. You know, my whole idea in this, and anything I do, is the idea you want to make people as educated and as informed and as free as humanly possible. And then my goal is that if you do everything like that, then people will actually make the social, fair, equal decisions. Because if people have time, if people are free, if people don't have to worry about healthcare, if people don't have to worry about money, if people don't have to worry about housing, if people don't have to worry about being laid off for having a child, if people don't have to worry about getting sick, causing them great economic pain, if people don't have to, if people are actually properly educated in how the world works, and how politics works, and how tax works, and how economic systems work, and how, and what all these countries do, and, you know, there's obviously this whole thing in America about, critical race theory, which, there's a weird terminology, because it's a terminology kind of invented by the right-wing Americans, and again, they sort of don't take it, oh, you're forcing all of this bloody race, pro-gay nonsense on my child, because Americans are fucking horrible cunts. Sorry, Americans, a lot of Americans are horrible cunts. But it is literally, a lot of that is very much pushing against the idea of educating people, because if you educate people, they kind of realize, oh wait, if you kind of show people that, like, you know, the base idea that gay people exist and they're not trying to rape you, right? Because that's the whole panic. It's the fucking moral gay panic, right? Oh my god, you know, it's the classic anti-trans argument now of like, oh, bloody men dressed as women have got to come into women's bathrooms and rape women. Obviously, they're not going to fucking do that, right? And just because that might happen, because it's not to say it won't happen. There's always an edge case. Things always happen, right? Women go into women's bathrooms and fucking sexually assault women. Like, it's not, right? Like, a man who does not identify as just a guy can go into a women's bathroom and do that anyway. Like, it's just whatever. But, they conflate the issue. And but if you educate people and, oh my god, trans people are just people. Trans people are just living their fucking lives. Leave them, oh my god, just let them just live their lives. Fuck off. They're not trying to fiddle you in the bathroom. They're just trying to have a piss. Right? That educate... A lot of these Americans don't like that children in the States are just being educated in the fact that other people exist who are different, who potentially are different to them. And they're fighting back against it, because fighting back against education is often seen as a fight back against liberalism, because the idea that people are more educated or more liberal is a true fact. And they kind of realize the fact that people who are more educated tend to be more liberal, and like, oh, we better not educate them. And it's like, oh my god, literally, how are you that unself-aware? how are you that fucking unself-aware? Like, what the fuck? Generally, I'm a big fan of gender neutral. I mean, I'm a big fan of just, I don't fucking... Look, my personal opinion on sort of gender and sexuality is they don't really exist. They're just kind of social constructs, right? Like, I am very hopeful for a future where we live in a future where where someone's gender is kind of irrelevant, as is someone's sexuality, right? Like, in the same way that, like, someone being attracted to redheads is not inherently a sexuality. It's like it's just a preference. I am hoping that at some point a person's sexuality will just kind of be just seen as a preference, right? And it doesn't really matter. And a person's gender is just kind of irrelevant, right? That's why I try to just use as much gender neutral language as humanly possible, just in every context, Because because in almost every context, gender is fucking irrelevant, and it's made up, but it's a social construction. Who gives a fuck? You know, it's important to affirm people who are obviously transitioning to a different gender from the sort of gender assigned at birth, and I think it's important to do that. But at the same time, I also just really try and push the idea of gender not mattering at all in some ways. That's why I try to use really gender-neutral language as much as possible. I'm not perfect at it, but I try my best. I think gender-neutral bathrooms are really important. I think just gender neutrality is really important. I think sexual neutrality is really important. I don't think it matters who someone's sexuality is. I don't think it matters what someone's gender is. I think it's somewhat irrelevant to most contexts, right? But it also is really important that people affirm what their sexuality is and affirm what their gender is, because it shows that they exist. Because that's a big problem, right? Some people are like, oh, why does it matter if you're gay? It's like, well, it shouldn't, but it does, is the thing. It shouldn't matter that someone's gay, but it does matter that someone's gay, and someone being visibly gay or visibly trans and being very proud. It's why, obviously, LGBTQ marches are very important. Because it is very much like, hello, we exist, and it's affirming a person's existence, and people shouldn't have to affirm that they exist, but they do. As much as you might, like, they shouldn't have to. Like, this is the thing. All these right wings are like, well, they shouldn't have to affirm they exist, and I'm like, I agree with you there. But clearly we have different ideas of how we're going to get there, because my opinion is they shouldn't have to affirm they exist, because they should just be allowed to exist for whoever they are, without question. And their idea is, well, they just shouldn't be who they are. And I'm like, well, no, clearly there's a bit of a mismatch there. I just think people should be who they want to be. I shouldn't really come up. Like, I don't think it should matter. And, that's the society I want to live in. It's not the society we do live in, is the point, though. Like, I will aim towards the way I want the world to be, but I'm also acknowledging the way the world is, which is why I think it's really important to be really visible if you're LGBTQ, and I think it's really important to affirm people for the gender or sexuality, even though I think in an ideal society it shouldn't matter anyway, right? In ideal society, it shouldn't matter what someone's gender is, it shouldn't matter what someone's sexuality is, but in our society, it does matter, and it's important to reaffirm people, because it's sort of affirmative action. You're sort of affirming something that was previously unequal to be more equal, and hopefully in future, it'll become less relevant. Hopefully in future, it won't matter. Hopefully in future, whatever gender you're attracted to, or whatever gender traits you're attracted to, or whatever sort of values of femininity or masculinity or gender neutrality or fucking gentle you're attracted to, will just be a preference, like someone liking a redhead, or someone, oh, I like people with freckles. Like, hopefully it'll be that in future. It should be that, but it's not that currently, and that's important too. It's fine. Kay Branson, has the UK banned conversion therapy yet? They've banned conversion therapy, but not for trans people. Which has been a big point of contention, because the UK's been a bit that a lot of people have called it Turf Island, right? Which is a valid point, right? Because the UK in a lot of ways is really like pro-LGB. Like, the UK in a lot of ways seems to be quite pro-sexuality. Quite pro-homosexuality, quite pro-bisexuality, but very trans excluding. The conversion therapy banned conversion therapy for sexuality, but not gender. And there's been a big call for obviously ban conversion therapy for gender. And those calls have been unheeded. The UK is moving in the right direction, to be clear. Banning conversion therapy, even if it was just for sexuality, is a big step. And it is a big important step, but it is not enough of a step. That's why you keep pushing. Public tax returns would be good. Liberals don't like it. Yeah! Why do the Liberals not like it? No, they don't like to be told that they're wrong. No, that makes sense. Let's make voting easier. Let's make voting easier. Yes. I don't like phone and internet voting, but I'm going to do it anyway. Didn't the UK block Scotland for making a pro-trans bill? Yes, the reason they blocked it... Oh, thank you, Phil the Dead. Before I sleep is enough for... Thank you for the birthday twiddles, Phil the Dead. The reason they blocked the Scottish law... Now, this is the thing. This is the annoyingly complicated bit of UK law, right? I actually understand why they blocked it. Because the reason they blocked... Scotland made a law that effectively made people be able to affirm the gender at will. And that England blocked the law. And their reason for blocking the law, obviously, was... well, not obviously, but the reason for blocking the law was that someone, for example, from England could go to Scotland and then change the gender... just different to the law in England, go back to England, it would kind of... It would create a legal loophole. And the obvious solution would be to just enact the same law in England. That would be the obvious solution. The reason it got blocked was because of that mismatch. The actual court that blocked it didn't actually affirm an opinion on the law. It's just the reason the court blocked it. The court that blocked it was saying, no, there is a fundamental incompatibility with these two laws. Like, either both countries have to have this law, or both countries have to have the law that already exists. Like, you can't have both mismatched simultaneously. They physically cannot. They are physically incompatible. Which is a valid point. From that it is a completely valid point. But the solution there, obviously, is to enact the Scottish law in England. That is the solution. That is the solution. That is the obvious solution, is just go, oh, we better enact that law completely. Because devolution does apply in a lot of cases, but obviously there's some instances, especially when it comes to recognition and identification, where stuff like that can cause a massive incompatibility within laws. Like, it can literally just cause an entire loophole if one country has an opposing law to another country, but in the same country. Because in the UK, Scotland and England, Wales and Northern Ireland are separate countries, but they're still the same country, but they have devolved powers, but they don't have devolved powers. But it's an incredibly unique situation, but they are four distinct countries, but they are actually one country simultaneously, and they have to have compatible laws, but they also have incompatible laws simultaneously. But it's a big mess. But in that instance, that's why it was blocked, because the law was incompatible, which is a valid reason to block a law. But there was an obvious solution in the UK, which was to enact the same law that England, which was to enact the law, but they didn't. That's a whole thing. Is ridiculous. Ridiculous. CO2 campaign. Voters really like it. I want to actually really popular with voters that I think is socially good. Criminalize child labour. I mean, obviously. Wouldn't the second best solution be making the law apply only to people who reside in Scotland? No, well, the problem was, because, for example, if you have a law that says, hey, I can't remember the very specifics of it, but if you have a law in the UK, in England, which says, hey, you can only identify, I think it was specifically for gender-neutral passports, I think was the context of it. If in England you say you can only identify as male or female on a passport, but in Scotland you say, hey, you can identify as male or female or gender-neutral. But the fact is, there isn't this is the thing. They are separate countries, but they're not. You can't make a law that applies in one country and not another in some instances like that. It is... You just can't. It doesn't work. You have to apply it. You have to apply it nationally. Was the problem? There is a legal awkwardness to it, which your suggestion is a good one, but the way Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland work in the context of the United Kingdom is a fucking mess. And a lot of stuff that seems like it might be obvious just doesn't fucking work. Because of the awkward, very unique way these four countries are set up as one country. It's why stuff like that happens the way it does. Like, the people who blocked the law didn't block it because they were anti-trans or anti-non-binary. It's just they blocked it because of the literal legal just loophole it causes. They went, no, this is just physically gonna... Either England has to make the same law. Like, it just... They can't work together. They just it doesn't... Something else has to give. Again, the solution is England making the same law. That is the obvious solution. That is the fair, correct, humane solution. But it's a fucking mess. The UK is a bit of a political mess, just the way the devolved powers work. If you ever want to learn about it, read up on it. Read the wiki. It's a fucking mess. You try and learn about it, and you're reading going, what the fuck? It's a whole thing. There's no comparison. There is no comparison, is the thing. Like, when you look at countries, like types of countries on Wikipedia, like when they talk about republics and federations and stuff like that, right? Because Germany's a federation, right? Germany's a federalized republic. Russia's, well, sort of a federalized republic. America is a federalized republic. A lot of countries are sort of like just normal republic. Like Ireland's a normal republic. There's a lot of different... The UK has its own fucking carve-out in that Wikipedia article of going, okay, it's doing their own thing. Like, it's just doing their own weird fucking thing that no one understands. Like, it's just its own weird thing. Which doesn't... they're doing their own weird thing. I don't know. It's a bit of a mess. It's worth reading about, because again, Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland effectively do function as 4 separate countries. Well, 3, sort of. England and Wales are kind of very closely tied, like way more than the other 2. Like, Wales just have devolved powers, but anything that happened in England tends to happen in Wales. Like, NHS England and Wales is a thing. There's NHS Scotland, NHS Northern Ireland, and NHS England and Wales. Like, it's one thing for England and Wales. And it's generally a history thing, because, like, Cornwall was, again, at one point, a devolved power. So, well, not a devolved power, but Cornwall was a separate, like, Gaelic entity. But completely, sort of, absorbed by the UK, or by England. And Wales, while it hasn't been completely absorbed by the UK, has been a lot more absorbed by the UK than Scotland has, and definitely a lot more absorbed by the UK than Northern Ireland has. It's a whole thing. NHS England and NHS Wales don't share data. It's the thing. It's a weird thing, but it's a mess. It's all a mess. This is the whole thing. It's all a mess. Like, any time I say something about the UK, there's a little asterisk. Everything has an asterisk, because it's a mess. Because of just the awkward way the entire system works. Because, again, it is genuinely. Because when you talk about a federation, like you talk about America with its states, right? Every state in America is a state. They are not countries. Nebraska is not a country. No one in the world recognizes Nebraska as a country. They wouldn't. It is a state within the United States. Right, all of the regions in Germany, while their own states in Germany, are their only states. They're not countries; they are states within Germany. Same with Russia. Every state is a state within Russia. They're part of Russia. In England, Scotland is a country. Scotland is an actual country. It's a country, but it's in the UK, which is also a country, and the UK overrides the country of Scotland, but Scotland is a country. It's not a state, it's a country. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. The whole thing's weird. It's weird. It's a very unique thing. Read up about it if you're curious. Do I want to criminalize child labor? Yes. Now, everyone liked that, aside from the GDP. What a surprise. All 4 countries. Yeah, all 4. Like, it's a fucking mess. It's a mess. They're all countries, but they do still function as one country, like globally. But they are all 4 countries, but they're also one country. But they're also 4 countries. But they are also one country. But they are also 4 countries. But they are also one country. But they are also 4 countries. Like, I can just repeat that sentence over and over again forever, and it's just. England, the UK. What's our approval rating like? What's our popularity like? Our popularity went up. Not hugely. Our voting intentions have went up. And since I got in, it was 34. It's currently 37. It's a bit better. Who doesn't like us? Trade unionists don't like us. Why do trade unionists not like us? Telecoms industry is not very good. Unemployment's not very good. Retirement age, labor laws, pro-employer. See, this is a big thing. That would fuck with us, the capitalists. Capitalists don't like that. It's not a huge thing for capitalists, though. And putting it there would, like, really help the working week and really help trade unionists without fucking the capitalists too much. Like, I can increase that a bit, and it would help. I'm going to skip over this turn to get some more political capital. Yes, the terrorist groups are gaining. The terrorist groups are definitely getting up. The Angels of Heavenly Justice. Where is that? Yeah, the Angels of Heavenly Justice have guns, and they don't like me. They are currently the highest chance of killing me. Again, in the UK, when I was doing the UK in this game, the most one got to was a 1, and none of them had guns, because it was the UK. I'm probably going to die. It's America. We'll have us. In Germany, they're literally called Buslander, meaning, Bundeslander, meaning federal country or something to that extent. Well, yeah, because obviously Germany was the sort of Holy Roman Empire at one point, because, like, Germany wasn't actually a unified country until, like, fucking, like, the 1800s. Like, the Weimar Republic was, like, a big deal. It's a properly unified Germany, because before that, Germany was just a load of, like, fucking independent republics. Like, if you look at, like, old maps of fucking Europe, you see, like, England as this, like a one fucking, like, border. You see, like, France as, like, one border, and, like, Gaul as, like, one border, and then you see, like, Germany. It's just fucking loads of little states, because it was, right? You know, because some of it was in Prussia, some of it was in... It's a whole mess. But functionally, Germany is one country with states, whereas the UK is one country with 4 countries. Like, they are countries, whereas the German states are states, even though they are federal. It's a whole thing. They are countries, but in the UK, it's very different. Like, Germany's set up much like the United States or Russia in terms of that they are functionally states. Like, America, they all operate independently, and then there's the federal government, which operates broadly over them. Whereas in the UK, there isn't a federal government that operates over 4 countries. There is the 4 countries that act as one country. But the UK England kind of got this whole thing. Oil! Prevent drilling! Boo! Boo! Fuck off. Shocking level of fraud in the welfare system. I don't care about fraud in the welfare. Every fucking... God, the Sun will be like, oh, there's fraud in the welfare system. The Daily Mail will be like, there's fraud in the welfare. I don't care. I don't care. Like, so what? There's always going to be a bit of fraud. It's fine. It's fine. So what? Fucking Jimmy's fucking earning 20 grand a year for free, and he shouldn't be. So what? I don't care. I support universal basic income. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. Your approval rate is disappointing. Shh. I would give myself an A+, Donald Trump. Thanks, Donald Trump. Serious concerns about extreme religious groups. Yeah, Angels Avenue Justice, definitely. Is that the Rural Alliance? Yeah, these don't line up correctly. I think this one's the Rural Alliance, actually. They don't have guns. Rural Alliance. Rural Alliance. That's a problem. Trade union. Right, let's strengthen labor laws. Oh my god, I thought I'd got more fucking political capital than that. Jeez, I only got 30. It's legal interpretation, but it's also obviously how the countries do functionally work. Say the UK, if you read up on like Wikipedia articles or whatever, you read up on German articles, the UK has a separate carve out. Like Germany is a federalized republic in the same way that America is a federalized republic, or Russia is a federalized republic. But the UK has, like, in every article I've ever read, the UK has a carve-out going, they're doing their own thing. They're doing their own very specific, unique thing. I don't know. Fuck them. Okay, let's just enact something small. Just to use some political capital. Compulsory language would be good, but that's quite expensive. That only costs 5. Compulsory foreign language classes in public schools. Oh, wait. 25. Wait, what? I thought it only required 5. Oh, no, I've got 25 left. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'm saving enough to increase labour laws. What do you want? What do you want, fucking cabinet minister? Yeah, the fucking Rural Alliance. Oh, they're losing members. That's fine. What do you want, cabinet member? Fuck off. What do you want? What's wrong? Self-employed, the middle income. What's your problem? What's your problem? Why? What is your problem? Self-employed are fine with me. The middle income are fine. You should like me. You're like socialist liberals. I'm doing lots of socialist liberal shit. I mean, statistically speaking, you are the one who is least likely to like me. I can fire him. It costs no political cap. I'm gonna fire him. You like capitalist conservatives. We don't like that. No one else wants to be in public services. Except for you. The only people who want to work in public services are fucking conservatives. There's that weird conservative socialist, which I don't understand. Well, I mean, I do understand. Again, Joseph Stalin was a conservative socialist, so he's Stalin. We don't want Stalin. I could take someone who doesn't want to work public services, but they're just not going to be very good at it. I mean, the conservatives don't like me. The socialists really like me, though. Thing is, it could be a temporary arrangement. They don't have to be in for long. The religious don't like me, and the capitalists don't like me. I'm not gonna fucking take him. Socialist parents. Again, you don't want to work in public services. But you would actually get me the most political capital. He'd get me 2.1 a turn. This guy gets me 2.2 a turn. But he's more likely to get me better. Actually, I'm going to take him. Because even though he doesn't want public services, because he likes me a lot more, he'll get me more political capital. He's more effective. He's the second most effective. I've only got 30. What? Why have I only got 30? Why have I only got 30? I need 32 to raise it. Son of a bitch! Is my max 30 a turn? My max might be 30 a turn. I might not have realised that. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. I've just wasted a turn effectively with them. Because I've just wasted a lot of fucking shit. Needle exchange program's good. Kate Branson, as much as I don't want to go, I need to as it gets late. Good night. What time is it? Oh, it's 3:30. It's 25 people here. It's fine. It's Matt. Public libraries. Public libraries! Public libraries. I'm going to spend a lot on public libraries. Education, 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 education. Education. We're going to increase labor laws next time. Positive discrimination. Yes! Yes! It is much needed. It is much in human rights terms. This is much needed compensation for years of discrimination in the workplace because of ethnic minorities, women, and elderly disabled. Yes, it's positive discrimination. It's affirmative action based on the fact that you've been discriminating against these people for so long that you need to basically make up for the fact that they've been discriminated against for so long, and which yes, it is on a technical level unequal, but it is in a wider, longer term context is equal. Like, if we're looking purely in the present context, it is unequal, sure. We shouldn't have to do it, but we do have to do it because historically, societally, we have... It's fine. Conservatives don't like it, but fuck you. God, they're not going to like me. Angels of the Heavenly Justice is... Oh, they're getting more members. Yeah, that's good. Good. Let's raise labor laws. Woo-hoo! Labor laws. Labor laws. Ooh-hoo! Labor laws. Labor laws. Labor laws. I'm very drunk. Storm destroys Whaleway. Whaleway. That's bad. Religious plot. Oh, God. Extremists. They've made a statement. They've advocated violence and direct attacks against enemies of God, and specifically your government. You can see how much the Angels of Heavenly Justice have increased their threat level in just one turn. And they are referring to the Angels of Heavenly Justice, which are armed. You can see how high they are. The security effectiveness is poor. You see, this is what I mean about, I tend to get killed when I try and do America. I always get killed. I've never not been killed. I can ban guns. Oh, I want to ban guns. So badly. I need a lot of political capital to ban guns, unsurprisingly. Let's increase... I don't want to increase fucking... Election campaign. We want to deal with... the focus of election will be... I'm going to say health. Health. Fundraiser. Yeah, we got a good foot. We got up. Our fundraising's lower than the Democratic Party, unfortunately. Yeah, see, I think this is going to end soon, because I think I'm going to be killed. Really, I want to ban guns. That is the solution. Well, not the solution here. That is the... Definitely, it'll definitely help. Yeah, I need a lot of political... I need 44 to raise it, but I need 22 to get a license. So I just need a bit more political capital. Gotta wait a turn. Hopefully I won't be killed next turn. And... a doctor's strike? Okay. Ooh, Jeremy Corbyn quote. We can create a new kind of politics, kinda more respectful, but courageous too. See, I like Jeremy Corbyn. I think he was a bad Labour leader. I think he was a bad Labour leader for two reasons. A, I don't actually think he's a very good leader. He wasn't... He was a bit of a wet blanket as a leader. But that's... but that, I think, is for two reasons. A, because I do think he's a bit of a wet blanket as a leader, but also I think the Labour Party is just kind of broken. I just think the Labour Party is fucking broken. Campaign speeches. Uh-oh. Ah, yes. The religious fanatics did try to assassinate me today. So that's... good. Campaign speeches. Let's do something. Farmers will like that. Liberals like that one. Conservatives don't. I want to make something kind of... I want to make a very popular kind of sort of speech. Yeah, let's do that one. Socialists. There's not enough socialists in the United States. Oh, a lot of poor, though, unsurprisingly. Well, that's the poor. A lot of liberals. A lot of poor. The poors like me. And the farmers really like me. Oh, this is going great. My speech is going great. Turns out appealing to the poor liberal farmers is actually a really good effect. Capitalists and the conservatives don't like me, but that went grand. Right, let's fucking deal with the gun thing. Oh my god, I need 22. I got 21. Can I get more? Shit. Legal aid. Fucking... Oh, I want maximum gay marriage. I don't know what that means. There's some of these where it's like, oh, how much gay marriage do you want? Maximum or high? And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Because when you look at, like, abortion law, it's like, oh, where are you drawing the line with abortion law? Like, oh, gender transition, right? Like, where, at will, doctor's agreement, subsidized by the state, doctor's agreement plus age limit, like, where, it's giving you specific things. But when you look at, like, gay marriage, what is high versus maximum, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does maximum gay marriage mean? Intelligence services, I mean, right to die, yeah, we want the right to die. Water cannons, I mean, witness protection. Party donation limits. Yes, party donation limits. Gonna increase the witness protection program. We're gonna do stuff that's gonna hopefully just sort of like improve safety while not sort of oppressing people. Voter ID, any document. I mean, I think that's fine. Just anything, just vaguely to prove who you are. In the UK, you have to register to vote. Like, fair enough. Tear gas. We'll deal with that in a bit. Firearms laws, yes. My chat keeps reloading. The whole time it just keeps reloading. Police force minimum? What do you mean minimum? Have you seen the United States? What the fuck? The police force is like there, surely. What the fuck? Minimum? Minimum? Community policing. Actually, that's important. Body cameras. Actually, that's really important. Let's increase. That doesn't cause any political capital either. Death penalty. We don't want the death penalty. We want to remove the death penalty completely. I need 33 to cancel it. I don't have enough political capital to get. This is the thing, especially in context like this. You physically cannot remove some policies. Like, you just can't. I can't remove the death penalty. I do not have enough capital for it, and I will not get enough capital for it per turn. Maybe if I get re-elected, but like, it's really hard to like enact certain things. I want to lower the drinking age as well. Religious scandal. Oh, what? The priests. Oh, no. No, the priests were diddling kids. Who knew? Oh, my God. The engines of heavenly justice are definitely... Yes, threat assessment maximum. I'm definitely going to die next turn. I'm going to get shot. I'm going to get fucking killed. I'm going to get fucking killed. Let's do another speech. Let's do another speech that's going to appeal to the people I like, the poor, the farmers. We don't want to do a speech that's going to really put people off. That's going to really be really unhelpful with re-election. I don't want to put off the youth. I would like to help with state employees, though. State employees. And liberals. I don't want to fuck with the youth. I don't want to... Maybe getting the retired on board. I mean, where am I at? The retired are... Oh, the retired like me. The youth don't like me as much. I don't need to get retired up. Trade unionists would be good to get up. I'm going to go with the liberals. The speeches are going well. The thing is, I think I can get re-elected. I just think I will die. Like, I've genuinely never not been killed in the United States when I've done this. Yeah, my speeches are going really well. Turns out appealing to poor farmers is a really good idea in the United States. And I don't know, I'm using political capital to campaign. Which is a problem. And yeah, they're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. They are going to kill me. They're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. I'm going to die. I genuinely, I'm really pretty confident I'm gonna die next turn. Hybrid cars initiative. Let's just enact some fucking tiny little thing. Surgical strikes. Doctor's strike. Why is there a doctor's strike? Fuck's sake. I haven't been killed. But yeah, but they're, again, about to kill me. Manifesto promises. We want to raise healthcare. We want to raise gender equality. Yes. We want to cut armed police. Yeah, we want to do that. Intelligence service want to do that. We want to raise secularity of education. Absolutely. We want to... I don't want to cut income tax yet. Raising GDP of 15% is a huge one. I'm not going to promise any more. Doctor's strike. Labor laws are healthy, but the state health service is underfunded. let's increase state healthcare. It's going to cost a lot, but again, fuck it. Surgical strikes, fuck me. Do you want to attack people in the Middle East? Terrorists in the Middle East have started to attack vital pipelines or bio companies. Yeah, we're not going to bomb people. No one like that. Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm not bombing people, man. Like, we can't solve things by bombing people. Election campaign strategy. Positive. Positive campaign focusing on strengths. Yes. Uh-oh. Okay, so I'm either not going to be re-elected or I'm going to be killed in the next term. One of them is going to happen. I don't think I'm going to be elected. Fuck America, man. Fuck America. What do you want? I hate America. I've never been able to get past one term in this fucking game in America. Either I get killed or I get voted out. They're like, oh, I hate that you're improving healthcare inequality. America. See, in the UK, I get really far. I end up getting voted out in the UK, but it's usually after like 7 terms. And they're like, oh my god, you've made the UK into a socialist utopia. And I'm like, I have. No voters, man. I mean, I tried to improve voter turnout. I put loads of money into education. I put loads of money into voter turnout. I put loads of money into political education. Didn't work. Thanks, Lemon Grotto. Excellent fucking name. Excellent fucking name, Lemon Grotto. God, that's a good name. God, I need to buy some good limoncello. I took my limoncello out my freezer the other day to make a cocktail, and God, it was fucking like, it was slushy. It shouldn't be slushy. I almost bought a good limoncello like the other week, and I didn't. Well, actually, I did buy it, but then I ended up giving it to someone as a gift, and I'm like, God, I want that fucking limoncello. I'm gonna go back and buy that limoncello because I want some good limoncello. Anyway, I'm gonna finish up there as I got voted out because fuck America. Basically, is the thing we've learnt today. I feel like that's not something we needed to learn. It's just a thing we've reaffirmed today, I think is the better terminology. I hope that I've reasonably reaffirmed that I am the same person when drunk, and I am, if anything, more annoying and more overly ethical. Also, happy birthday to me. I guess. Was that an exploitative birthday stream? It wasn't very exploitative. I like to think I was very unexploitative. Well, a lot of people gave me money on Ko-fi. I don't think many of them are here. You're drunk? I'm less drunk now than I was when I started. Are other people giving money on Ko-fi? What with Ko-fi is like when the Twitch like integration with Ko-fi, it just says someone gave you a coffee, but that could be like 700 coffees, or that could be one coffee, and I never know. Let me go on Ko-fi very quickly to read out, see what people gave on Ko-fi. If anyone's watching from Ko-fi, gave me on Ko-fi, thank you. See all. There we go. Rob, thank you. Happy birthday, Matt. Harvey gave me £10 for a fluffy wall rug fund. I appreciate that. I did buy a fluffy wall rug. I like the fluffy wall rug. I'm excited to receive my fluffy wall rug. Michael, I just tear. Neil gets, thank you, happy birthday. Rasha, completely unrelated to your birthday, of course. Thank you, I appreciate that. Lexum, tear unlock everything, thank you. And Chubba Thingy, I have a pint of proper Guinness with me, Matt. I didn't have a pint of Guinness. A lot of people next to me ordered Guinness. Loads of people were ordering Guinness at the bar I was at, and I was like, maybe I should order a Guinness. But like, I'm at a bar, man. I want to order an ostentatious fucking cocktail I can't make at home. One of them had jam in. One of the cocktails I got had jam. One of them had a banana rum. I'm like, of course I'm going to buy it up. Thinking, come on, man. I'm going to buy a cocktail with a load of random spirits. I'm not gonna, why the fuck am I going to own a banana rum? Come on. Also, I'm totally going to buy a poster pic when I get my fucking fluffy rug wall thing. A lot of the reviews are like, oh, it looked bad when I got it, but it comes with a comb. It comes with a special comb, and it comes with a link to a video that shows you how to properly comb it to make it look right. Because you have to comb, I have to comb my wallet to make it look correct, because it's just very fluffy, and it looks weird if you don't comb it. So I'm gonna have to put it up. Apparently it's awkward to put up as well. I'm gonna put it in my bedroom. It's gonna go above my bed. So I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna find a way to mount it. I'm gonna put it up, and I'm gonna comb it properly using the combing video tutorial to comb my wallet. And then I'm going to take a picture of it and be like, look at my fluffy wall art. Because I love fucking Starry Night. It's my favorite painting. I love Van Gogh. I love some Impressionism. Oh my god, I love Van Gogh so much. He's just, I love Impressionism. It's so fun. It's the perfect kind of art. It's not as wonky as modern art, where you go in and like, what's this painting? It's like, it's the color red, but on a slight wonk. And I'm like, right, and like, it's very clever. And I'm like, but it's not this sort of like classical sort of Renaissance era art, which is like, it's very Pacific and it's very beautiful Renaissance and sort of classical era art work. But it's kind of boring. Whereas this Impressionist art is just, it's the best of both worlds. It's the Tim Burton Batman, right? Like fucking, it's the Tim Burton. Modern art is fucking like the Batman, and I appreciate it, but it's a lot, right? Fucking classical art is actually, you know, I'd reverse it. The point is, it's the best of both worlds. I like Van Gogh a lot. I'm a big fan of Van Gogh. I love Starry Night. It is annoyingly like, I want to go to the Van Gogh Museum in the Netherlands, but Starry Night isn't there. It's in the MoMA in fucking New York. And I've been to New York and I didn't go to MoMA, and I'm really annoyed I didn't go to MoMA because I want to fucking see Starry Night in person. I desperately want to see Starry Night in person. I love the Lego set Starry Night. I bought the fluffy Starry Night. They did a fluffy Mona Lisa and a fluffy Scream as well, and I do like the Scream a lot. And I did debate buying the Scream, but I love Starry Night so much. If I really love Starry Night, maybe next year I'll buy the Scream. I'm not buying the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa's fucking boring. I'm sorry, Leonardo. I appreciate Da Vinci. I like Da Vinci. I respect Da Vinci. The Mona Lisa's a boring fucking painting. Fucking Starry Night is a beautiful fucking painting. It's so emotive, and it's beautiful. The Mona Lisa's like, look, is she slightly smiling or not? And I'm like, I don't care. God, I don't care. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Sorry, I'm just gonna rant about I've heard we're strong on the moon. Good. I'm not gonna raid anyone because it's the middle of the night. Thank you all for coming. Happy birthday to Matt. I don't do the birthday thing. Also, there's no one to raid because it's 4 a.m. on a Thursday. I need to get up in the morning. Did John text me? John messaged me earlier being like, hey Matt, are you free for recording tomorrow? And I'm like, maybe. Cool! It's later. Fantastic. I don't have to get up early for John. Okay, bye. That's the end. I don't know if I can really. I was be like, whoa, bye! No, be more politically engaged. Support open democracy.